The Untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Guys, we're back. It is, in fact, True School After Dark. We got a great live show planned for you guys today. Have a lot of things I got to get off my chest today because this Brian Ullman Jr. and Devin Haney build up, it's been something else. You know, you got, and that's how you know it's a great fight, because you got many people rooting for believing in Devin Haney, believing what he's going to do, and you got many people who definitely believe in Brian Ullman Jr. And each side pretty much is pretty vocal and pretty hell bent on who they think's to win the fight. So listen, I got some things I want to get off my chest today because I'm getting a little sick of the Devin Haney fan base. I got some things I want to say to y'all. But apart from that, I definitely want to react to and speak about the whole the zone sit down interview that happened with Brian Ullman Jr. and Devin Haney and all the things that were said there. So we'll get into all that, as well as a little Eric Luben, Virgil Ortiz talk. Virgil Ortiz, Eric Luben. We'll talk a little pro box as well if y'all want, and then y'all can definitely drop your comments down below and make your presence felt and do all those great things. But look, guys, before I get into the comments, before I get into the talking points, before I get into any of that, let me just do some housekeeping real quickly, and let me inform you guys on a couple of things. So look, this little QR code right here, if you scan this QR code right here on the left, right here, right over here. If you don't follow me on Instagram, my Instagram is right there. If you scan it, Jessica and Dania, get in contact with me on there. I'm about to start getting real active soon. I'm about to start getting active like I used to be active on Instagram, really posting. So yeah, definitely follow me on Instagram. And then one thing I'm gonna start doing too. All right, we'll see how this goes. But look, if y'all want to talk box with me, look, that's my other number. I got multiple numbers, but that's my other number. If y'all want to talk box with me when I'm not live, when I'm not, making videos, dropping videos on here, when I'm not, right here, text me over there, 702-758-5496. And I normally check my messages like every 2 days or so. So go text me over there if you want to talk some boxing, or if you got any video suggestions, or if you want to offer some encouragement, or if you want to talk some shit about Brian Ullman Jr. versus Devin Haney, just text me over there, and we'll definitely we'll talk. It'll be a good way to reach me outside of YouTube, So yeah, that's the number right there, 702-758-5496. Listen, let's go to the comments, man. Let's take some time to acknowledge the fine folks that are already here, making their presence felt before we get into this Devin Haney, Brian Ullman talk. So we got my man. Let me see. We got Matt Borgeson in the building. He says, hold on. Before I get to the other comments, he said, Matt Borgeson says, I'm still not a fan of Delonte Johnson. He's a tomato can. Well, look, you can say what you want. He was the underdog tonight, and he put like a really good performance on. I picked him. I actually had him winning. I didn't think he'd win by knockout, but and if I did have him win by knockout, I didn't think it was going to be that level of devastation. But nonetheless, I digress. He went ahead and he did his thing. So, yeah, you guys are saying I'm pointing in the wrong direction. It's right over here. On my screen, it's right here. It's on the top left-hand corner. Let me try it again. If you guys can't see it, look, it's right over there. Boom. It should be in that top left corner. It might be the right if it's yours. I'm not sure. Like if the screen's mirrored the same way, but you get it. You get it. Oh, you said no. You said Nicholas Flowers is a tomato can. Oh shit. Listen, a lot of people had Nicholas Flowers winning. I know. When I was asked about that fight on here, a lot of people picking Flowers. It felt like a lot of people were down on Tiger Johnson because he hadn't really been showing those performances that you'd hope for from a guy that was a Olympian, top ranked signing. He was winning, and there's no problem with winning and just getting the job done, but he wasn't standing out. And we see when Top Rank signed him from the amateurs, they didn't sign him to just win. They signed him to stand out. And I think for the first time in his career against a really top opponent, at least a top contender that was on a 6-fight winning streak, he showed that hey, he deserved that he could actually do his thing. We got boxing fan in the building. Shout out to him. Yeah. So okay. Anyway, guys, look, I don't want to and by the way, there's a number again. If y'all want to get in contact with me outside of this YouTube thing, that's a good way to do it right there. My Google Voice number, where I I use it sometimes. But anyway, look, guys, I've been getting real frustrated because when I hear Devin Haney talk and I hear his fans talk, and it's not just like fans on Twitter, but it's like people with YouTube channels. Like I've been going around to other channels, a lot of the Haney channels, so y'all can connect the dots on who those people are in the YouTube box community. And I've been listening to all kinds of vantage points about this fight, and whenever the Haney fanboys talk about Devin, they make it sound like his resume is like so amazing, like they make it sound like he has a Roberto Duran resume or something like that. And truth be told, if you really look at Norman's resume, if you look at Devin's resume in terms of how they were built up to get to this point, it's very similar. Like there's very similar things about the resumes. Like Devin did a lot of his pro career in Mexico. Brian Norman did a lot of his pro career in Mexico, and it looks like we got company here. We got Pops. We got Pops joining us now. But yeah. I wanted to start with some resume talk, because Devin's whole reason for taking this fight, because him and his dad don't think Brian Norman is any good. They really think he's a creation of Top Rank, which is fine. Like, they get a chance. That's the beautiful thing about it. Regardless of what I say or what you say, like, they both get a chance to prove what is what. So look, since the whole talk about this fight has been about resumes, Brian Norman hasn't fought this guy, Devin has fought this guy. Let's really break it down, because a lot of y'all don't even know about Devin or Brian's resume like that, like you think you do. So let's really go through it. All right. So I just made the point. I said, look, Brian Norman and Devin were built up very similar. They both turned pro at a pretty young age. I think Brian turned pro around 17. Devin might have turned pro around like 16 or 17 himself. And what did they both do? They went to Mexico. Now, if we count them up, right? If we just count them up, let's count up how many fights Devin Haney had in Mexico, because I know it's a lot. They both had 10 fights or more in Mexico in their career. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 right there, right? Then he came here 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That was 10 fights in Mexico, and then that's it. 10 fights in Mexico, and then his first real step up really wasn't until Mason Menard. But let's just focus on Mexico before we get into Devin Haney's career as far as the step ups and things like that. Let's keep it in Mexico, right? Because I'm making a point here. You guys keep talking about resumes and how much different and how Devin's resume is so amazing. I'm gonna show you guys. Both the resumes are similar. They both had great managers. Brian Norman's manager in the beginning is arguably the greatest manager in modern boxing history. That's Cameron Duncan. Go look at his track record. You know who Terrence Crawford is? You know who Jerron Ennis is? You know who all these guys like Donito Donaire, Timothy Bradley, like the who's who of boxing. That's who Cameron Duncan managed. And Brian Norman was part of that fold before he went and he passed away. But look, Brian Norman, much like Devin, okay, had a one little fight here in Houston. Let's count up how many fights he had in Mexico. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and that's it. So the numbers are this. Devin Haney had 10 fights in Mexico. Brian Norman Jr. had 13 fights in Mexico. So, I mean, yeah, Brian Norman did fight in Mexico a little bit more than Devin, but they both had above 10 fights in Mexico. So the beginning of their careers started off very, very similar. Now, when we look at Devin Haney today, like he was in that whole face-to-face with Brian Norman. He was talking about like, what did he say? What did Devin say today? He was like, I've been at the elite level for so long. And, I started thinking about it. Now, to be fair to Devin, he has been at the elite level longer than Brian Norman. That's not a debate. But when exactly, when exactly did Devin Haney get on the elite level? You guys tell me. Because, I mean, a lot of Devin Haney fans, a lot of y'all wasn't around. Like, I've been here on YouTube this whole time. A lot of y'all wasn't around when he fought Mason Menard. A lot of you guys probably don't even know who Mason Menard is. But Mason Menard was, at that time, looked at to be Devin Haney's step-up opponent, right? But Mason Menard really wasn't no world beater, right? But at that time, it was considered a good step-up fight. I believe that fight, if I'm not mistaken, was on Showtime. Mason Menard was not that good. If you go watch him fight, was not that good. Juan Carlos Burgos, again, a guy that you would not classify in and around the elite level. Zolani Ndengeni, good little gatekeeper. Now, I would probably say maybe here. If you want to say Zolani Ndengeni, maybe you could say here Ndengeni has used as an opponent for a lot of fighters. He's taken like 6 losses since the Devin Haney fight. But as you can see, Zolani ended getting, he took Ernesto Mercado the distance. He took Ryan Murataya and made him look bad. Took him the distance. I was at that fight. That was that last year. But do you want to really consider him at the elite level? Like, do you consider Zolani and Jenny at the elite level? I'm not so sure. So Abdulayev, good little fighter. Antonio Moran, good fighter. But like, do you consider any of these guys to be elite? Now, if we're just being honest, right? Not to say those guys weren't good or weren't competent, because some of those guys, a lot of those guys are competent professionals. But I'm saying based on the standards I've heard and based on what I've heard from the Haney fans, y'all downplay Giovanni Santiago, who's 32-0, right? Downplay Jin because you say Jin sucks. Jin, Jin was number 2 in the WBO. Y'all don't think he's no good, right? So that's fine. Y'all downplay everybody no one's fought, which is cool. But when exactly did Devin Haney get on the elite level? And I'm going to tell you guys this. I'm not going to say Gamboa. Gamboa, to me, was not a fight that was, I consider at that time to be an elite level fight. Because if you look at the Gamboa fight, if you look at, his career in a vacuum, okay, Gamboa, he's long in the tooth. He's had 36 fights or 35 fights in his career. Of those 5 times he's lost, there was only one person that didn't knock out Gamboa. And that guy, who do you guys think was the only fighter to never knock out Gamboa in one of his losses? I'll give you guys some time to put it in the comments. You guessed it right. Look, you guys guessed it right. Devin Haney is the only fighter that's fought Gamboa that never stopped him. And I remember when he beat Gamboa, a lot of the Devin Haney fans spun it and were like, "No, man, Devin Haney outboxed the gold medalist. No one's ever done that to Gamboa." And it's like, come on, man. Come on. What are we doing here? Like, look, Gamboa got knocked out before Devin fought him when he fought Tank. And then he got knocked out after he fought Devin when he fought Pitbull Cruz. So Gamboa, to me, was not an elite level fighter. And if you want to keep it all the way to Spade, because I'm pretty sure I got a video somewhere in my archives, but Gamboa got knocked out in 2017 against Robinson Castellanos. Castellanos was a gatekeeper, a guy that he was supposed to beat to, get his career going on the right track. And he couldn't really do anything with Robinson Castellanos. So I'm making the point to say that Gamboa, to me, was not truly a fighter who was really on that elite level, right? If we're just being honest, because I was watching him around that time a lot, 2017, 2018, I watched this shit. This boxing is my life. So, in my opinion, Devin Haney did not get him. He did not really get on the elite level until this fight right here, when he fought Jorge Linares. I will say this is a fight where he got on the elite level because Linares best blend of boxing skills, the ability to fight in the pocket. He was in there, he was fighting, and he was boxing as well. He was doing a little bit of both. He got clipped, but he responded well, and he showed on this night that he belonged at the elite level, right? And then, of course, Jojo Diaz, former world champion. We know about the Kambosos fights. Went to Australia, signed an unfavorable deal. Lomachenko, Prograis. Okay, so I'm making the point to say this, that Devin Haney, for all the talk of what Brian Norman Jr. is and what Devin Haney is, what I'm trying to tell you guys is that Devin Haney hasn't even really been at the elite level for as long as you think. We think that Devin Haney is older than he really is. Devin Haney's 26, guys. He's talking like he's a 33-year-old veteran. He's not a 33-year-old veteran. Devin Haney, it feels like he's been around longer than he actually has at the elite level, because back in like 2014, when boxers didn't have YouTube channels, Devin Haney was one of the first ones with Real Devin Haney TV. And so we've had a front row seat to Devin's journey as a fighter, as to where with Norman really didn't get on most of our radars until like 2023 when he fought Quentin Randall. So that's why, but really when you really look at his career, it's been about 3 years. So if you look at his career from Linares on up, you guys tell me how many from Linares on up. I'm not even going to count Gamboa or Menard and none of those guys, because I don't think those guys were elite fighters, or maybe they were elite at one point, but the version of them that Devin fought were way past it. That's just a fact with Gamboa. So from Linares on up, y'all tell me, Devin Haney fans, y'all tell me, How many of these guys that he fought were like true killers? Like Kambosos, I'll give him credit for Kambosos because Kambosos was coming off the teeth from Lopez win. So he fought him when he was at his best and most confident. So I'm not gonna hate on that win, but we know what Kambosos is. Like, if we're honest, we know we've seen what's become of George in these years, and he hasn't really been able to climb back to the elite level himself. You understand? So you tell me, how many killers has he fought? Was Jojo Diaz a killer? I mean, he had what? You tell me. Maybe you could say JoJo. Lomachenko, we know, was A-level, and that fight was disputed. Prograis, good fighter, but we know, like, if you were really watching Prograis, and see, this is how I know a lot of you Devin Haney fans don't watch boxing. I know you don't watch boxing because Prograis, right before he fought Devin, he fought Danielito Zorrilla, right? Or no, was it? Yeah, it was Zorrilla. Yeah, he fought Danielito Zorrilla. It was in his hometown. Matchroom Boxing had just signed Prograis to an exclusive promotional deal. Eddie Hearn was marketing and talking up Regis Prograis like he was the best guy at 140. So this is a close fight, very close fight. You know, and really, truthfully, some people thought that Prograis might have lost this fight. You guys can see one judge had it for Zorrilla. It was a split decision victory for him. You understand? Prograis got clipped in that fight. So the signs were already there. Like, there's a reason why Bill took that fight. Bill's a great manager. I give Bill Haney all the credit in the world. Like, Bill Haney, to me, is one of the best managers in modern boxing history. What he's done with Devin has been remarkable. But they saw that fight. They definitely watched that fight. Like, I watched that fight, and they knew that, okay, Prograis is good. But this wasn't the Prograis that fought Relic or fought Josh Taylor in the World Boxing Super Series. This is a guy that had been through some wars and had lost some steps. You know, he had just had a very gruesome fight with Jose Cepeda to win the title before that. So if you watched his career and you saw those fights, then you understand like why they took that fight. And then we know what happened with Ryan, and then we know what happened with we know Jose was compromised, and we know Ryan was on Peds, right? So when you really look at Devin's career, because from Linares on up, that's really what the elite level is for Devin Haney's career. The only two guys that you could really say were like, you know, top guys, I'd probably say Lomachenko and Jojo Diaz. A lot of you guys, like, if I say George Kambosos Jr., a lot of you guys are gonna say he's trash anyway. So I won't even say George, because a lot of you guys like to discredit George. You guys don't give George Kambosos Jr. credit for stepping up and fighting the best time and time again. So don't start now. Don't start now to fit your narrative. All right. I'm gonna give him JoJo, because JoJo came to fight that night. I was at that fight. I went to the MGM Grand. I seen that fight, and I'll give Lomachenko. But everything outside of that, smoke and mirrors. That's the truth. That's the God's honest truth. Like, you guys are downplaying Giovanni Santillan, right? Y'all are saying Giovanni Santillan ain't shit. He was 32-0 when Brian Norman fought him. I would venture to say that the Giovanni Santillan that Brian Norman fought is better than about 80% of whatever this is right here. From 2021 and up is better than about 80% of that. You know, big, strong southpaw, can throw, you know, 700 to 900 punches a fight, knock you out. Like, he's not an easy guy to deal with. And he had to go on the road to beat him, which makes it even harder. He had to knock him out. Otherwise, he wasn't going to win, because Top Rank had big plans for him. And just so you guys know, I know from, you know, talking to people at Top Rank and things like that, that he was looked at to be the future of the welterweight division. You know, one guy from Top Rank that I know said that he was the future of the welterweight division, and Norman was not in their plan. So when Norman knocked him out, it was, you know, Norman has earned where he's at. It ain't been smoke and mirrors with Norman. Like, you can sit here and you can downplay all these guys he's beaten. We'll go to Norman now, because let's go to his career, because I think we need to go to his career, right? So, you know, you look at these fights here. You know, the Benjamin Whitaker was a cool little win, but like, his Top Rank career started right around here, so around Rodrigo Correa, right? You know, I know Correa. Correa's a good fighter. Correa is a good fighter. I know, not like a rugged fighter, not a world level fighter, but a rugged fighter, a guy that, you know, is tough. This is a guy in Korea that, you know, he fought my boy Pistol Pete Dobson, gave him a tough fight. Then he fought Norman, gave him a tough fight. And, you know, while the record may not say he's this great fighter or anything like that, you know, if you've watched this guy fight, you know he's not easy to look good against. Look, he's never been knocked out. He's had 22 fights. He's still never been knocked out. And he fought Brian Norman Jr. He fought Pete Dobson. He fought Milan Pratt, who can punch. Like, the guy is durable, right? And then, Norman, look, Norman, this is Norman's, I would say this is Norman's, like, if we're going to compare it to Devin, right? If we're just going to be fair to Devin, this is like what Linares was for Devin. I will say that, even though I think Santion was that, a lot of you guys don't rate Santion highly. So I'll say that this is that for Norman, right? And so I'm saying all this to say that I think Devin Haney's resume is not what you guys think it is. I just showed you that it's not much different than Norman's resume. They both fought with Top Rank at one point. They both had over 10 fights in Mexico. They both, let's be honest, like Devin Haney's only been on the elite level for 4 years now, since 2021. 2021 is when Devin Haney got on the elite level. So he's had 4 years of being at the elite level. And look, maybe that's going to be enough. Maybe Devin is so good, and maybe that 4 years and all these guys he's fought that were smaller than Brian Norman Jr., that couldn't punch as hard as Brian Norman Jr., that weren't as athletic as Brian Norman Jr., that weren't as young as Brian Norman Jr., maybe all those things, all the experience he gathered in those fights is going to be enough to beat Brian Norman Jr. because he's just that damn good. Or maybe he's getting sent to the shadow realm, and maybe he's deluded. Maybe they made a big miscalculation here, and I think they did. I'm going to be as vocal as possible about this. I think Bill Haney and Devin Haney made a ridiculously gross miscalculation with this fight, and they're going to get hurt and hurt badly. I'm telling you that right now. Like, Brian Norman Jr. is super confident right now. They keep saying he's just a power punch and that he has no IQ. And when you turn on the film, if you watch these fights, if you look at the way he's getting these knockouts, they're coming in different fashions. One fight up with the jab, the next fight with the right uppercut, the next fight with the left hook off of a parry. You're not knocking people out in these different fashions if you don't got no IQ. So I just think they made a big miscalculation, and I think that Devin Haney's resume is grossly overrated. Not to say that he's not a great fighter, not to say that he's not hasn't done some great things in his career, because he has. Youngest male undisputed champion, lineal champion, all that blase. We know the resume. Bill and Church used to when Church was part of the team, they told us all the time about Dev's resume. So we know it already. We know it frontwards and backwards. We know all about Deebo Dev. But they make his resume out like obviously he beat George Kambosos Jr. and Teofimo Lopez didn't, right? However, Teofimo Lopez has beaten better fighters than Devin Haney. There's guys Devin's own age, from his class, from like that whole era, from this era, that are beating better fighters than him. So I want to get this live started off on the right foot and just say that, you know what? Devin Haney, fantastic fighter. You respect what he's done in the sport, but he hasn't even been on the elite level as long as he even thinks. He's been on the elite level for 4 years, which is great. Some guys don't even last on the elite level for 1 year. But they both had 10 plus fights in Mexico, and they both are built up very similarly, and they both were managed by two of the best managers in modern boxing history. So anyway, I'm gonna start it off like that. Let me go to the comments. I know I probably got some good comments. Hold on, man. Hold on. Devontae says, I saw a video you made saying Sasaki, Cuevas, and Santion could beat Haney. I definitely think Santion would have a great chance to beat Devin Haney. And Devin is way more skilled than Jin. I will say that for sure. But again, Devin Haney, like you saw happen in the Ryan fight. Let's just be sensible for here for a second. What punch was Ryan Garcia landing over and over and over again? Just in the chat, let me know what punch was Ryan spamming on Devin Haney and landing upside his head over and over again that he's never been able to defend since the amateurs. Please tell me what punch it was. Haney didn't pick Norman. He was put in corner by Turkey. He did. I agree. I 1000% agree. Like Turkey said, look, because look, you with Turkey, he had that time. He had that card out in Times Square. It was supposed to be this great card. It turned out to be a dud. Rolly and Ryan's fight wasn't that great. Devin and Jose's fight wasn't great. But my thing is, like, I'm shocked that people were surprised that Devin and Jose fight was gonna be bad, because I remember when that card got announced, that was the fight I was least excited about, because if you understand what Jose Ramirez is at this point in his career, and then you know how Devin Haney fights, you just know it's not gonna be a great fight. Like, you would know that already. But somehow, for as little expectation as I had for that fight, it actually was worse than I thought it would be. It was pretty bad. Anyway, shout out to my boy Amir Mason, and much respect to the Mason family. Abdullah Mason, appetite for the smoke. You know, he's got his big title fight coming up with Sam Noakes. That's probably the fight I'm second most excited about after Norman Haney. I like the Abdullah Mason Sam Noakes fight. I think definitely the biggest puncher Abdullah's fought thus far, and but he's got Abdullah has a speed advantage, so I think that'll be something that he could exploit. It's a really good fight. I'm looking forward to it. Good to see you, Amir. Hope all is well, and say what's up to your dad and your family. Matt Bergeson says Santion is a good win. It's a very good win when you factor in that Santion was the A side. I'm not telling you guys what I think. I'm telling y'all what I know. Like, people at Top Rank behind the scenes were like, yo, this guy is the future of the welterweight division at Top Rank. And Norman was having bad performance after bad performance, right? He wasn't like I'm not going to cap with you guys. Norman did not look like the goods. He did not look like what Cameron Duncan made him out to be when he signed him. He looked like a hype job. He was a guy that was very close to getting that pink slip and getting cut by Top Rank. And that was his sink or swim fight. And what did he do? Look what he's done. Look what he did that night, and look what he's done since then. That right there will show you what kind of a fighter he is. You'll know a man by how he works under pressure in life and in boxing. He landed 3 out of 300 left hooks. Blah blah blah. Well, look, all he needed to land was 3 out of 300 because Devin couldn't defend it. So all I'm saying is, look, Jin Suzuki's not as good as Ryan. We know Devin is more skilled. But one thing Jin Suzuki do got is an explosive left hook. And he's going to throw it. He's going to throw it and throw it and throw it. And he don't care how stupid he looks. And if one of them were to somehow touch Devin, it is very possible that Devin will get hurt and or buzz. But, they did fight. I'd pick Devin to win. You just ignored Jesus Perez. He gave Norman a 5-3 fight and 2 judges cards. Rocha 10-0'd him and Murray spotted him in 5 minutes. Norman was on PEDs and now he's actually being drug tested. Well, okay. Well, good. I'm glad that he's being drug tested. So now when he sends Devin Haney to the Shadow Realm in 7 rounds or less, I don't want to hear no excuses. But anyway, guys, before I get into my next talking point, make sure you smash that like button. I want to go ahead and I want to give a couple shout outs to our unofficial sponsors. We have some unofficial sponsors here on True School Sports. We got to pay some bills right quick. So let's go to the unofficial sponsors. We'll start with sponsor number 1, Gerard Miller. Tell him who's sponsoring the show today. Tell him, big baby.
Vienna sausage, cinnamon buns, Wonder Bread, Kool-Aid with no motherfucking sugar.
There you go. Vienna sausage, cinnamon buns, and Kool-Aid with no motherfucking sugar. That's who's sponsoring True School Sports today. That's who's sponsoring True School After Dark. So you have that, heavy hitters, the top of the top, the Fortune 500 companies, the A-side companies sponsoring True School Sports. And you know what? I'm gonna let Pops tell you who the other unofficial sponsor is. Tell him, Pops. Thank Pops for his service. That's why
Norman and Brian's towing. There ain't nobody to fuck with. Get ready, Haney. There's going to be a towing company coming near to your house to pick you up.
There you go. Brian Norman's towing. There you go. Brian Norman's towing. He told you. Pops done told you. So, yeah, there we go. True School Sports in the building. But listen, shout out to everybody here. Hope everybody's doing good. I'm really excited about this fight. I know we got Luben and Virgil Ortiz tomorrow, and I'm really excited about that fight. That's a hell of a fight as well. We can talk about that as well if you guys want. But really and truthfully, guys, this is the fight that's captivated my imagination. Not even just because of Norman, like for Devin, because Devin, I'll be honest with you. So when Devin fought Lomachenko, was obviously a great fight, but I wasn't really excited for that fight like I probably should have been because I remember I had just got back from Japan for the first time, so I was jet lagged. I didn't care. I was just tired. But and not even just that. I thought Devin Haney should have had a better performance against Lomachenko. Like, he's the bigger guy, younger guy. Skillful, one of the top jabs in boxing. I'm like, you know what? This got to be Devin Haney's real coming out party. I thought he was really gonna make a statement in that fight, And not only, I mean, he fought a good fight, and he did enough in the judge's eyes to get the decision, but he left it too close and up for interpretation. So I feel like, you know what, like it wasn't what I thought it could be. But you know what? This fight is really exciting for me because from my perspective, from my vantage point, you know, I remember a lot of the time in 2021, I was going to Las Vegas a lot. Like I was going in and out, in and out, in and out of Las Vegas. And I used to go by Bones Adams gym a lot, and I would talk to a lot of my the fine folks in the Vegas boxing community. And I'd hear all these crazy stories about Devin Haney and what he was doing and sparring and how he was just, butchering people in the gym. And then he would fight, and I'm like, well, where is it in the fight? And I would be like left disappointed in the fight. So I'm thinking now, you know what? Okay, he's got a dangerous, young, strong puncher in front of him, right? In Brian Norman Jr. He's got a little bit more weight on him. You know, it looks like he's done the right things with his camp. Like he went to Colorado. He's preparing very diligently in Colorado, getting that good high altitude training in, all that good stuff. And I know all about the high altitude training. I've been to Colorado Springs. I've been to Santa Fe, New Mexico. I've been in training camps before, so I know he's going to be ready. And I know he's going to be ready to fight 12 hard rounds. But I know Brian Norman's going to be just as, if not more, ready to fight 12 hard rounds. I feel like he wants it more, but we'll see. We'll see. The ring will tell all. All right, so I want to start unpacking some of the things Devin Haney said in the face-to-face interview of Brian Norman Jr. So please bear with me, guys. One of the things he said, and this will be my next talking point. He said that Top Rank has the best matchmakers, and he used that as a talking point to say that Brian Norman Jr. is a bum. He said that Brian Norman Jr. his career has been carefully guided and curated by Top Rank, and discredited his accomplishments, everything he's done up to this point. And he called Brian Norman Jr. a bum, which is funny because when you look at all the fighters Devin Haney loves, has been around his whole life. Like look up like Floyd Mayweather, who was he built by? Top Rank. I mean, even his godfather. I mean, I'm gonna show y'all something real quickly. Hold on. I'm gonna show y'all something real quickly. So Zab Judah, right? Zab Judah, for those that don't know, is Devin Haney's godfather. Shout out to Zab Judah. Zab Judah was like a personal favorite of mine when I was a kid. But look, when Devin was a kid, boom, look, Zab Judah. So for those of you who don't know, this picture right here, this is a picture of Devin Haney with the Ring Magazine lineal title. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure this is before the Lucas Matisse fight. That's Devin Haney. You can see the red shirt. That red shirt's a shirt from Bill Haney's old boxing gym, the Hit Factory, which doesn't even exist anymore. But that was Bill's gym in Vegas back in the day. Shout out to Bill. Bill, that was like I never had a chance to go to the Hit Factory, but I've learned about it through the years and talked to people that went there, and I heard it was a great gym. So that he's wearing that shirt. So like, keep in mind this is for a Zab Judah fight. Zab Judah was his godfather. Don't ever forget this fact. All right. Now I'm saying this to make a point because Zab Judah, and this is an article from boxingtalk.com. Now look, this is Zab Judah telling Bob Arum in 2008. He says, look, if you offer me what you're giving Alfonso Gomez, I'll fight Miguel Cotto, right? So what did Zab Judah eventually wind up doing? Right? He told Bob Arum, who is the promoter for Top Rank, right? Give me a certain amount of money. I will fight your cash cow. I will fight Miguel Cotto. What did Zab Judah, right? Hold on. What did Zab Judah wind up doing, guys? Because we got to show you guys visual aid. It's not enough if I say it. I got to show you guys because I got to show some of you guys because some of you guys think I'm so smart that I can just conjure up these things and I'm a hater. I'm not being a hater. I'm telling y'all the facts. Devin Haney is using Top Rank being good at their job to discredit his opponent, right? Which was stupid because Top Rank helped him get to undisputed and put on the biggest fight of his career with Lomachenko. But that's neither here nor there. All right. So Zab Judah eventually wound up fighting Miguel Cotto. He actually fought Miguel Cotto before 2008. He fought him in 2007. But look, I digress. His godfather, Zab Judah, who I'm sure he loves dearly, which he should love him dearly because Zab Judah was an awesome fighter and he seems like a very good guy, right? Zab Judah fought under Bob Arum. Zab Judah worked with Bob Arum. So if you're going to discredit the matchmakers at Top Rank, you got to discredit everything you've ever loved around you about this glorious sport of boxing. You gotta discredit Floyd. You got to discredit, your godfather, Zab Judah. Discredit all that because Bob and Top Rank helped build all those guys. Mayweather, De La Hoya, all these guys that Devin Haney loves. Like, I know Top Rank is not perfect. I know some of us really hate the Top Rank matchmakers at times because they do be on some bullshit, and I'll be the first one to call it out. But any boxing fan who like hates on Top Rank for being good at their job, you have to just hate the sport of boxing, because in the last 25 to 30 years, odds are Top Rank has built a fighter that you have been a fan of, whether it's Mayweather, Pacquiao, Cotto, and the list goes on and on and on. So yeah, I didn't like that. I didn't like that because it's retarded. It's dumb. Yeah, they have great matchmakers, but that doesn't mean, like, they can get fighters the right fights, but the fighters still have to go win the fights. Like, for every Brian Pillman Jr. or like Xander Zayas, I can give you examples of Top Rank giving fighters the right fights, and the fighters aren't good enough to win the fucking fights. I'll give you one example. In fact, hold on. I'm gonna give you one example. I'm gonna give you an example of a Top Rank fighter who was supposed to be a star, but wasn't good enough to win the fights that they paid good money to get him. All right, I'm gonna show you guys right now. And this is actually probably one of my favorite examples I could use, and I use this example a lot. So we're gonna go to screen share. All right, since we want to discredit Top Rank matchmakers for saying they just build everybody. Listen, Top Rank ain't perfect. Just because they get a fighter a certain fight, it doesn't mean that fighter is gonna go and do great things. You understand? Here's a great example of that. Do you guys remember Alex Saucedo? In the comment section, guys, let me know. Do you remember Alex Saucedo? Yes or no? Because if you don't remember Alex Saucedo, I'll refresh your memory on who Alex Saucedo was. Alex Saucedo was a 140-pounder, Mexican-American kid, right? Coming to you guys live and direct from Oklahoma City. Like, he was an exciting fighter. Stereotypical Mexican, come forward style. Okay, this was a kid. Now, if you go and look at his career, his career is really just this little block right here. Okay, so he had a fight with Lenny Zapavinga, and this was like one of the best fights of 2018. If you haven't watched this fight, go watch this fight. This is an underrated classic fight, one of the best fights of 2018. This fight was in the running for Fight of the Year in 2018, just a straight bloodbath. And Saucedo wound up stopping him. Saucedo was a very fan-friendly TV fighter, a TV-friendly fighter, right? So he wins that fight. Maurice Hooker goes to England and wins the WBO title against Terry Flanagan. And this is, mind you, Maurice Hooker at the time was not highly regarded. Maurice Hooker was like less than 2 years removed from a very terrible performance against Darlius Perez on the undercard of Andre Ward versus Kovalev in late 2016. Okay, so Hooker was not supposed to win. They overpaid Hooker and made him the B-side as the champion to come to Saucedo's hometown, which was Oklahoma City. And what happened in that fight? Hooker got hurt in that fight early. I believe he got dropped, got up off the canvas, and he stopped Saucedo right in his hometown. That was it. And after that fight, I mean, he won some fights against like Salka and Fredrickson, and then he lost to Barbosa. But like pretty much after that, Top Rank knew that they weren't going to have what they thought they had with Alex Saucedo. So he's one of many examples I can give you of fighters that were pushed by the machine, that had Top Rank behind them, that had Brad Gilman and these guys picking the right fights at the right time. And guess what? They weren't good enough to win the fights. So no matter what, even if Top Rank does match you right, you being the fighter still have to be good enough to win the fights when you step in the ring. So any fighter that does that, that gets these fights and wins and becomes champion, does their job, they should get the credit for it. Like Devin Haney, he's the youngest undisputed champion in history. There was a time in 2022 where I thought Devin Haney should have been like number 10 pound for pound, and they had him off the list. I forgot why, but I remember I made a video about it. So I've actually talked up for Devin Haney when the time is called for it. But yeah, like I thought that was ridiculous what he said today. And he said anybody can be a world champion. That's not true. Like That's not true at all. Not everybody can be a world champion. I know so many fighters, and I know good fighters. Like look at tomorrow's fight. Look at tomorrow's fight against Luben and Virgil Ortiz. Eric Luben was a fighter, and I know all about Eric Luben's whole career. I can recite you his career frontwards and back. Eric Luben was a fighter that, you know, had a lot of people thought was going to be a pretty good Olympic prospect, to be an Olympian. He decided to forego the Olympics. He turned pro. He signed a contract at like 16 or 17 years old with Gary Jonas and Equinity Sports. That was the name of the company, Equinity Sports. Henry Revolta, them guys. Gary Jonas, Henry Revolta, Mike Tyson Productions, all them guys, right? Made his pro debut at the American Airlines Arena in Miami. You know, got a lot of push from PBC once Al Haymon got in the fold. You know, he lose to Charlo in a world title fight. Beat some guys like Nathaniel Gallimore to build his record back up, Severio, Ortiz, and guys like that. Then he fights Fundura some years down the line, loses to Fundura and gets the brakes beaten off of him in one of the best fights of 2022. And he hasn't won a world title yet. And when you look at Luben is one of those guys that, like, skill-wise, we're just going by skills. He has a very good lead hand, educated jab, foot speed, athleticism, can punch hard with his right hand and his left hand. The only really knock on Luben is that his durability has never been good. He does not have durability. Like, his durability always fails him in big fights. Now, maybe tomorrow against Virgil, that won't be the case. Maybe he needed to go through all that to win a fight like this, and his experience will be the determining factor in why he wins. But at this moment in time, on November 8th, 12:31 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, that's why he hasn't won a world title yet. So no, not everybody can be a world champion. There's a lot of really fantastic fighters that never won the world title for some reason. So no, Devin is wrong. He's wrong all the way. He's wrong all the way around the board for that. Let me see. My man, shout out to Johnny. He says, I just want to stop by and say what up to the GOAT before I go to sleep. Devin 11. Johnny, I've been telling you along with everybody that, like, it's gonna be bad for him. But, you know, good to see you, Johnny. Let me see. Felix Verdejo is a good example, BT. That's another one. Felix Verdejo. I was a big Felix Verdejo fan years ago. You know, he was knocking people out, like in 2014. 2015 he was doing his thing. Then 2016 rolls around. That's when the slide happened for him. But you know what's funny? See, a lot of y'all don't even realize there was about a good couple weeks in time when Terrence Crawford was at 140 and Verdejo was at 140. They fought on the same card in February of 2016. I covered that fight, and there was talk in the boxing world, like, you know, could Verdejo versus Crawford be a future fight? And obviously those talks ended because Verdejo looked like dog shit that card against William Silva, and then he slowly, you know, he faded away, and Crawford became who he became in the sport. But like, yeah, another one, Zhao Shiming, the two-time Chinese gold medalist, he sucked. He could have won the fight. So you still got to win these fights. Nah, bro. Alex Saucedo suffered severe brain damage after that. There is a Netflix documentary about Alex Saucedo. No, well, yeah, he did because of the Lenny Z fight and Maurice Hooker. But I'm trying to tell you, the reason why Maurice Hooker came to Oklahoma City to fight him is because Top Rank overpaid Maurice Hooker to come in as the B-side, as the champion to fight Alex Saucedo. You know, they thought he was going to win because they didn't think Hooker was that good. And Hooker showed in that fight that Hooker was a little bit better than people thought he was. Edgar Berlanga, another one. Edgar Berlanga didn't even lose. Edgar Berlanga didn't even lose before Top Rank cut him. Normally you got to lose, you know, before they cut you. They cut him while he was undefeated because they said, you know what? You ain't the goods. Get out of here, you know? So there's so many examples. Jose Vargas. I mean, their list goes on and on and on and on. Just because Top Rank is good at their job, they're probably like for every fighter that they get wrong as far as matchmaking and those guys being hype jobs, they probably get 4 of those guys right. I'll give you guys another name. Another name before I get into my next talking point. I'll give you guys another name that you guys probably don't even know about or forgot about. Top Rank had a kid about 7 to 8 years ago named Ruben Rodriguez. You guys may not even remember him, but he was a Robert Garcia fighter. He was like 7-0, 8-0. They matched him up with Abram Martinez. Abram Martinez, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Abram Martinez knocked him the fuck out, and nothing became a Ruben's career. So there's so many fighters that Top Rank has signed that they thought would be something that had the right fights, the right trainer, the right promotion, and they just weren't good enough. So Devin is wrong. All right. Last comment before I get to the next talking point. My man Hoops Combo says, BT, Norman said Haney is overlooking his skills. Do you agree? 1000% I agree. I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys, like, I don't think Brian Norman Jr. is like Terrence Crawford or anything like that. But I do think he's very skillful. I think, like, he's definitely I would say he's a boxer puncher. I think he's got very good fundamentals. If you go back and you watch the Derek Cuevas fight, and I know people say who's Derek Cuevas, right? But if you go and you watch that fight, go look at not just the knockout, but go look up like how the knockout was set up. He threw, if I'm not mistaken, it was a left hook. He barely even threw it that hard, and he didn't even have to really load up on it, and he just hurt him. The way, like, look at these knockouts he's getting. The Sasaki fight right there, that knockout right there, the way he landed it, the way he caught the punch, he parried it, and then he countered with the left hook and knocked him out one punch. That's skill. The inverted 1-2, he did the 2-1. He finished his combination with the jab and knocked Cuevas out with a jab. That's skill. The Giovanni Santillan knockout, when he threw the left hook and then the left uppercut and the right uppercut and then knocked him out. That's skill. Like, skill isn't just about finesse. I feel like in the era of post Floyd Mayweather, people look at just finesse and they associate finesse with skill. But no, there is such a thing in boxing as power boxing, as setting up your shots. And I guess people don't see it that way. All right. So my next talking point is this about Devin Haney. Because he said anybody can be champion. He said he thinks Jake Paul could be a champion, right? And I get what he's like. Trust me, I get what Devin is saying. As someone who is very fascinated by like fighter development, boxing management, who knows? You guys might look up one day, and I might be a boxing manager one day. You just don't know what the future holds here on True School Sports. But like, I fully understand what he means when he says, like, with the right guidance and management, a fighter could be a champion. Now, I won't say any fighter could be a champion because, like I said, I gave you some examples of guys that were signed by Top Rank, pushed by the machine, and they get sucked. They weren't good enough to win. And you guys give me some examples as well. So clearly, it's not just about the management. It's also about the fighter himself. But I'm saying all that to say this. If anybody can be a champion, then being a champion doesn't mean anything, which means that Devin Haney's accomplishment, that his whole career and fan base has been built upon him being the youngest male undisputed champion since Pernell Whitaker, it means it doesn't mean anything. If Devin Haney, if anybody can be a champion and being a champion doesn't mean anything, then it means that being the youngest undisputed champion doesn't mean anything. Who gives a fuck if you won 4 belts against George Kambosos Jr.? Who cares? It doesn't mean anything. Anyone can be champion, right? So it doesn't mean anything. Brian Norman's WBO title doesn't mean anything. Devin Haney's belts don't mean anything. Josh Taylor's belts don't mean anything. Terrence Crawford's belts don't mean anything. Nobody's belts mean anything in the grand scheme of things. You see how stupid that sounds? Like, there's no problem with thinking you're better than your opponent. I feel like you should think you're better than your opponent. In boxing and in life, you're not going to win in anything if you don't think you're the best. If you don't think highly of yourself. If you don't, but at the same time, you have to have a balance. You have to have that enough, like that healthy amount of respect to where, like, I respect what you've done, but not to the point where I believe you're superior than me. You understand? And I feel like Devin Haney, he has the game messed up. What do you guys say? Let me talk to me in the chat, guys. Am I off base here? Do you think anybody in boxing can be a champion? Of course, there's scenarios. There's been circumstances where like, fighters that weren't that good through being at the right place at the right time can get a world title. Like Charles Martin comes to mind. Vincenzo Gutierrez comes to mind as some of the lesser world champions over the years. But for the most part, if you touch a strap, I don't give a damn if it's WBO, WBC, IBF, and any of them belts, any of the 4, you touch any one of them 4 belts, you did something right. There's something about you, So I'll leave it at that. Shout out to my man Angel Diaz. He says Norman versus Santillan is better than Bum Prograis, Cambosos, and Jose Ramirez. I would agree with that. I feel like the Santillan win gets overlooked just because Santillan's not a big name, but Santillan, bro. I'll give you know what I'll give people a homework assignment. For those of you who think Giovanni Santillan isn't that good, go watch Giovanni Santillan versus Alexis Rocha, and go watch when Giovanni Santillan hit Alexis Rocha's ass with like six right hooks in a row. This man did the damn Roy Jones on Alexis Rocha. It was one of the best fights of 2023. Go watch that fight, and you'll see. I thought Edgar had a chance of being world champion. He was stopping everyone, and then he started having bad performances and still stopping guys, and he lost to Canelo, still making millions. Yeah, I just think I have my theories as to why he stopped progressing. I think he got caught up in the lifestyle of being a superstar boxer, and just didn't really improve the way he needed to. He wasn't really dedicated to the game. I feel I'm not there with him every day. I don't know that, but I mean, boxing's pretty. It's not an easy sport, but it's pretty simple. Like if you're honest to boxing is oftentimes very honest to you back as far as like. You're training and doing the right things. I've seen this shit. I know it. I've seen it with multiple fighters, like in my own life. Like, I can. I mean, I don't want to name it for you guys, but I can if you want me to. Yeah, that's terrible. I don't want to see that fight because what is like Ryan's coming off of a loss. Barrios ain't won a fight in 18 months. Barrios has a mandatory duel with Suleiman Sissoko. And by the way, they got history. They both used to train under Virgil Hunter, so they've sparred. So, someone knows something about the other person, and I don't know. I think Sissoko could probably beat Barrios, but that whole thing is about money. That's all it is. My man said Deebo's coming. Tuck your chain, man. Tuck your chain. Devin Haney's coming. We'll see. Wow, why you gotta bring up Rocha, man? As a Santa Ana native, that fire break to PTSD. I still believe Santillan was on PEDs that day. Shit, he might have. You never look in this game, in this sport. I'm not gonna accuse nobody of nothing, but at that top level, nothing really surprised me. That's what I will say. Anyway, let's see what else I got to say, because I got some shit to say, man. So look, another thing Devin Haney said about Brian Norman Jr., which I was like, he keeps saying that Brian Norman Jr. hasn't knocked out anybody, that we don't know these guys that he fought, which to me is like, anybody who watches boxing, like, you're gonna know at least one of the guys no one's knocked out if you really watch boxing. Now, if you're not really a boxing fan and you just kind of like casually follow the sport, okay, you're not gonna know Santillan. But Santillan's fought on plenty of top-ranked undercards. If you look at the welterweight rankings, if you've been looking at the welterweight rankings, or you watch any of those Naoya Inoue cards, you probably will have seen, or even Kenshiro, you probably will have seen Jin Tazaki at one point, right? Which I know not everybody does, because those Japan cards are like at 3 in the morning, Tuesday morning. People got jobs. I get it, but that's neither here nor there. My thing is this, because I remember people used to always say this when they were defending Deontay Wilder. They used to always say like, well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you knock out bums or good fighters. Like if you have a high knockout ratio, knocking out grown men is hard to do. And they would use that to justify Deontay Wilder's opposition at one particular point in time, right? But like, Devin doesn't knock out anybody. Like, he doesn't knock out anybody, whether they're elite or subpar. Like, what was his last knockout? What, like 2019? Like LeBron James was playing for the Cavs back in 2019, or maybe he had just joined the Lakers. But like, it's been a while since Devin Haney had a knockout. So like, I don't want to hear it. Like, if you as a fighter are not knocking shit out yourself, you cannot criticize fighters that are not just knocking fighters out, but getting like crazy highlight reel knockouts straight up. You can't. You absolutely can't. Like, the last fighter Devin Haney knocked out was, ironically, Antonio Moran. Antonio Moran's actually a good fighter. Like, I actually think that's a very good knockout, and it was a very, very devastating knockout. Devin Haney, he threw a left hand. He didn't throw a left hand, but he probed the left hand. He got Moran to bite, and then he came with the overhand right and clipped his ass cold. It was a great knockout. It's probably my favorite Devin Haney knockout of his career because he has had too many to pick from at the level of boxing where he's been boxing in America and on TV. So yeah, you can't really be criticizing Brian Ullman for who he's knocked out, because when they put cans in front of you, you don't knock them out. They put look, guys. Oh no, they put let me put the picture on screen. Look, they put this guy. Look, they put this guy in front of Devin Haney. Now, not this version, because this is like Devin Haney took a picture as a kid with a close to a prime Gamboa. But you know what I mean. Like Gamboa has always been a chinny fighter with questionable durability. Very skillful. I like Gamboa. I'm a Gamboa fan. Gamboa versus Crawford is probably one of my favorite fights. But Gamboa has 5 losses. 4 of those losses have been by knockout. The only fighter that never knocked out Yukio Gamboa was Devin Haney. So that's very telling of the puncher that he isn't and the finisher that he isn't. And I'm saying that to say that you can't criticize. Like, you got one of the most tailor-made opponents for a knockout and couldn't get a knockout. Now, of course, you could say, well, Devin was weight drained. He was sucking down on 135. The weight cut was difficult on him. Well, then shit, fight close to your natural weight. Do what Brian Ullman Jr. does. Brian Ullman Jr. is fighting close to his walk around weight. He's knocking people out. So shit, you should be doing that. Nobody asked you to fight Gamboa back then. How you gonna criticize Brian Ullman Jr. when you couldn't knock out Yukio Gamboa? And he wasn't even the thing is, it wasn't even so much that he didn't just knock out Gamboa. He wasn't even close to knocking out Gamboa. There wasn't really any time in that fight where I felt like, you know what, Devin's gonna get rid of him. And of course, power is not everything. Not every fighter is blessed with power. But if you're gonna go around criticizing a fighter for who he hasn't knocked out, just make sure you're knocking out, fighters yourself. And Devin ain't doing that. So I'm just stating the obvious here. Shout out to my man Unbiased Brim. Good to see you in the chat. Chevy says, my brother is a star. My brother, a star, is about to be born November the 22nd. Brian B. Norm the Storm. Dirk was still in the league. Dirk was still hitting Dirk Nowitzki was still hitting people with that one-legged fadeaway. He was doing this shit in the NBA still. Kemba Walker was on the Hornets. Shout out to the Hornets. Tiger Woods won the Masters. Yes. Le'Veon Bell was playing for the Jets. Yes. The Florida Panthers had no Stanley Cups the last time Devin Haney got a knockout. Yes. Yes. He hit Gamboa. Yo, you still a kisser, man. I don't know what you're talking about. But shout out to you, champ. Next Gen Combat, what's good, champ? Good to see you. Good to see everybody here in the chat. Make sure you smash that like button. It's True School After Dark. I'm just here, just getting some things off my chest because you guys have no idea how many times I go on Twitter and I just see some dumb shit being tweeted and I want to respond to it and I gotta delete the tweet because I'm not about to be there arguing on Twitter all day. It's crazy, because people act like Devin Haney has this crazy resume, and I'm not gonna sit here and say it's not bad, but it's not great. It's not an amazing resume. He got on the elite level in 2021. The only guys from 2021 to now that he's fought that I could really say were killers, like quote unquote killers, I'll give him obviously Lomachenko, and I'll give him Lomachenko, and I'll give him what's his name, and I'll give him Jojo because Jojo only had 1 loss. But if you're gonna if you're gonna say Kambosos, I feel like it's disingenuous because everyone always shits on George Kambosos Jr. and all he does is fight the best guys. So don't give me you can't say Kambosos because everyone shits on him. And then Ryan Garcia's on PED. You can't even say Ryan because he's on steroids. Then fans don't want us to talk about Ryan Garcia because he was on steroids, right? So we won't. Shakur's dominant win over Zepeda is better than anything on Devin's record. Yeah, I mean, I think let me see. Is it? No, I'm not gonna go that far. That's hating. I feel like that's hating. Lomachenko is better than everyone that Shakur's beat. Let's not do that. Let me see. I missed a comment. What comment did I miss? Trini BX. What did Trini BX say? He says, I see Norman stopping Haney with the right, similar to how Pirog stopped Jacobs using athleticism to close the distance the way Pirog did. Quite possibly. Quite possibly. I was watching today I was doing some film study today because when I get into film study, I get like real deep into it, I love film study. I love breaking down fighters. I love doing it when I'm in camp with fighters that like I'm cool with and stuff. When I have to go to camp, it's like Angelo and Hugo Osaki and them kind of guys. But I came across some Brian Norman fight. I actually found some Brian Norman Jr. fights today that I never watched. Like fights that weren't on any networks. They were all on Brian Norman Sr.'s YouTube channel. And I can't remember. I can't remember the guy he knocked out. But there's a knockout that I saw on Brian Norman Sr.'s channel that looked like that knockout is exactly how I pictured Devin Haney getting knocked out. Brian Norman threw like he was closing the gap. The guy was going towards up. He was closing the gap. He threw, if I'm not mistaken, he threw like a right uppercut to the body and then a chopping right hand to the head. And I think he might have thrown a punch after that, but that was pretty much it. Like he like those two punches he landed. It was a nice little, it was a cool little setup. Like he was walking him down. He paused the jab a little bit. He threw an uppercut to the body, a right hand to the head, and both of those punches caught him flush. It was a fight like early in Brian Norman's career. I'm gonna say it was like maybe his 14th or 13th pro fight. It was on Brian Norman Sr.'s channel. That's how I saw. That's how I see him getting knocked out. Something like that. Devin wouldn't get much hate if he didn't cry about losing to Ryan. That's been trying to get it overturned. I think that's part of it. I think that's part of it. I think also too, let's just be real. Like the Devin Haney fan base on YouTube is ridiculous. Like these guys swear to God, Devin Haney is the next Floyd. And that ship was never in the water to begin with, but it's definitely sailed if it was in the water, So, but yeah, that's played a role as well. Yeah, I don't know. Like Devin, like the reason why I feel like a lot of people are gravitating towards Brian Norman Jr. and it's not just because of Devin Haney, and it's not even just comparing him to Devin Haney, but I'm saying in comparison to most fighters in boxing across all weight classes, there's just a certain level of authenticity that they're bringing, and I'm saying this as somebody that I wasn't always like solo Norman. Like I saw Norman fight early in his career when he started Top Rank. When he turned down the draw and it's 1.7 million, I got a video saying that he avoided the Boots fight back when it happened. But time had a way of revealing things. And as crazy as Senior sounded, I started to realize, this fucking guy's telling the truth about a lot of things he says, and there's a level of honesty and authenticity that I've experienced being around them and seeing just now following their career and stuff that I know they're cut from a different cloth. I really believe that about them. And you know what? Another thing that confirms it about me, and this is personal stuff. The Normans and I have a mutual friend who's no longer here. He passed away about 5 years ago. Guy by the name of Coach Tito Lopez. All right. Now y'all may not know about Coach Tito Lopez, but he's got a son that's a boxer right now named Najee Lopez, and you guys may know him. He's a prospect on Pro Box, light heavyweight, probably like 14-15-0 from Atlanta. Same gym, same stable. So I know what kind of guy. I knew what kind of guy Coach Tito was, and that right there tells me enough to know what kind of guy Brian Norman Sr. was, just based on what I knew from Coach Tito. Because me and Coach Tito, we were pretty cool in the short time we knew each other before he passed away. So yeah, I'm really excited for this fight. If Devin, listen, and I'm going to use it to pivot into my next talking point about Brian Norman Jr. And guys, thank you for bearing with me because I have a lot to say. A lot of times when I'm not going live and the channel's quiet and I'm quiet on social media, I'm sitting and I'm watching and I'm listening and I'm studying and I'm absorbing everything, and then it all comes out here in these lives. But I'm gonna say it like this. I'm gonna say it straight like this. I've said this many times in videos. I've said this in my YouTube shorts. I'll say it here in the live. If Devin Haney does pull this off, and let's say he goes in there, let's say he beats the brakes off Brian. Let's say maybe he knocks out Brian Luben Jr. And let's say he outclasses him, then I feel like he should go to the Hall of Fame. Yes, I feel like with the accomplishments he has, if he gets this one on his resume and it's an impressive performance, like if it's a dominant performance of any sort, he should go to the Hall of Fame. You're talking about now 3-division champion, former lineal champion, undisputed champion, beating a guy who's undefeated, younger than him, bigger than him, stronger than him, trending towards his physical and mental prime. That is now a win where you can really say, okay, Devin Haney, Hall of Fame. It's now a real conversation. Like, people want to put him in the Hall of Fame already. I don't feel like he's the Hall of Famer right now. But you get a one like this in your resume and see now you're moving up and you're beating bigger guys in their prime. That's what Hall of Famers do. You understand? That's what Hall of Famers do. That's Hall of Fame shit. So that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm excited for this fight, because I have become a big Brian Luben Jr. fan over the last, like, pretty much since the Santion fight. I would even go as far as to say that Brian Luben Jr. is one of the 3 fighters that has single-handedly kept my love for boxing alive. Him, Angelo Leo, and Kenshiro Taraji. Those 3 right there. Those are the 3 guys that, like, are keeping my love for boxing alive. But I'm really excited to see how Devin Haney fights in this kind of a fight, because, like, when he fought Regis, right? I remember when Devin Haney fought Regis. That was a fight that it was easy to pick. I picked Devin to win. I didn't have to think twice about it. I liked Regis, but I just knew that Regis was going to beat him. Devin is too big for him. Devin is too big and skillful for him, and it showed when they fought. Lomachenko, I feel like Devin was enough to win that fight more convincingly than he did. And it was a great fight, but, like, Devin Haney, I've never been excited for a Devin Haney fight. People have been like people in the boxing community in the boxing community have been excited for Devin Haney fights. His fan base has been excited for Devin Haney fights, but, like, you know, I just kind of cover him and talk about him because people want to hear my thoughts. But, like, this is my first time, so I'm really excited to see how does Devin do against like a bigger puncher. Like, even when he fought Ryan, if you guys remember, when he fought Ryan Garcia, my prediction for the Devin Haney Ryan Garcia fight was Devin Haney to win by disqualification, because Ryan Garcia was on some weird shit going into the fight, and I felt like he was going to do something. He was going to do something to get disqualified in that match, and the fight was ruled a no contest. So technically, you could say I had the closest prediction in boxing media to what happened with the fight in the aftermath. Nobody else picked Devin by disqualification. He got his O back in a no contest. So that's as close as you can get. So yeah, it's a great fight, man, and it's a great card. Only thing I could say is I'm really upset that they didn't make this the main event, because let's be real, guys. This fight is carrying the whole promotion. Like, sure, Bam Rodriguez versus Puma is a great fight. As a fan of the lighter weight categories, I like that fight a lot. I'm overlooking it. Abdullah Mason, Sam Noakes, sleeper fight, banger, 2 big punchers, young, in the prime. But, you know, it's not Norman Haney. You know, Benavidez Jarrett, a good light heavyweight fight. It's definitely not Norman Haney. So I want to give these guys respect. I want to give Devin Haney his just due, because as much as I'm saying, like, okay, he's not this, he's not that, what Devin Haney isn't, he ain't no coward. He ain't no coward. He ain't no punk. Like, Jerron Ennis is a guy that I think is a more talented fighter than Devin Haney. He didn't, like, when the fight was the most feasible to make for all parties involved, and when it was the biggest it possibly could have been, Boots didn't want to make the fight. He went and he fought, you know, Lima, you know, Philly Angola, the biggest rivalry in boxing. You understand? Yeah, like, so when I see this guy Devin Haney, who's not a big puncher, right? He's got all these things. You know, I don't like. He's a good fighter. I don't think he's a special fighter, but he's got something here. You know, he does got a little something. He's got something here to go in the ring with a puncher like Brian Luben Jr. So if he wins this fight, I'm very consistent. When guys win and I'm wrong, I get them to just do it. I don't hesitate to give them their flowers. Devin Haney wins this fight, I'm going to say, you know what? Him in the Hall of Fame is now a real conversation. Put him in the Hall of Fame. Put him in the Hall of Fame. Because this is Hall of Fame type stuff. 3-division champion, undisputed, lineal. Now you're beating guys younger and stronger than you in a weight class you never really competed in. So you deserve credit. No tune-ups. Like, you're not doing the boots. You know, you're not doing that. Devin is better than Kenshiro Taraji. At what? I know you ain't talking about no damn boxing. I know you ain't talking about boxing. Ooh, who's threatening you? No, nobody's threatening you, champ. We don't make threats over here. Let me see. What else? Devin looks sharp. He will handle the added weight well. I see no winning a tough fight where Haney is able to gain some real fans even in a loss. I feel like Haney's in a fight very similar to how he did in the Linares fight. I don't think he's going to move as much as people think he's going to move. I think he's going to try to exchange and be in the pocket and fight. You know, he's going to try to see what Norman has and dog him. So I'm intrigued to see how that goes. I try to tell people they are genuine men, real deal. Yeah, no, the Normans are great people. And you know what? I mean, I met Bill and Devin before. They're good people too. But there's a certain authenticity about the Normans that I've rarely experienced, not just in boxing, but in life. So that's why I just really respect how they go about their business. If Devin beats Norman, he definitely got to be Hall of Fame offer, no matter how the rest of his career goes. Why not? Yes, Hall of Fame. Yes, why not? I mean, he has a win over Lomachenko on his record. He's an undisputed champion. He's a lineal champion. He's you know, you go and you become a 3-division champion and you beat a guy like this who's got one of the most vicious knockouts we've seen in a long time. A proven knockout artist. Why not? Let me see. 216, don't sleep on Tiger, man. Cleveland Fighters got that dog, Abdullah too. I'm very big on Abdullah Mason. I did a live like 3 years ago on this channel, and I said that Abdullah Mason, I believe, is going to be the welterweight champion of the world one day, because he's big enough. He has the frame. I think one day Abdullah will be the 135 world champion, 140 world champion, 147 world champion. But it all starts against Sam Noakes, and I know people want to shit on British fighters, but you know, Sam Noakes don't fight like most British fighters. He don't have that textbook, you know, style. He comes to punch through the target, and we've seen in Abdullah's career, one thing that I like about Abdullah is that he goes in there looking to seek and destroy, but that could also be a double-edged sword if you get the right puncher in front of him, as we've seen with Johan Perez. And Johan Perez ain't punching like Sam Noakes, so that fight's gonna be a banger. Shakur Haney, who's better to me? It's always been Shakur. I've always said Shakur is better than Haney. I think Shakur is a better technical fighter than Haney. I think Shakur has a higher IQ than Haney. But Haney's good. Like I'm not saying Haney's not good. He became undisputed champion. Taraji said he want to fight Bam now, and to be honest, I don't like it. SMH fall right in line with the timing, he likes catching guys at. Look, man, Kenshiro Taraji has been calling for that fight. I've been telling you guys for years. I got the interviews to prove it. Like, I went out to Japan for the first time in 2023, the summer of 2023. I went all the way to Kyoto, where Kenshiro was from. I went to B&B Boxing Gym. That's where he trains, in Kyoto. I sat down with him for like an hour, damn near. We talked about boxing and life. And Kenshiro was calling for that fight in 2023, and he's been calling for that fight. So one thing about these Japanese fighters, for good, bad, or indifferent, and you know, while I do love this about them, it's very dangerous. You know, they live by the sword and they die by the sword. So look, if he wants that fight against Bam, he gonna take it. Like, and you know, maybe like beginning of this year, like before the Seigo Yuri-Ikui fight, I think that would have been the perfect time for Bam to fight Kenshiro. They're both at a great level, but see, now Kenshiro had the war of the ages with Seigo Yuri-Ikui. He had a very tough fight against Ricardo Sandoval. A lot more punishments been dished out. He's at an older age now. He's been through a lot of wars. So, you know, in my opinion, as much as I want him to win, and I love Kenshiro. Look, I got a Kenshiro picture. I got a Kenshiro picture over there. I got the Kenshiro banner he gave me right there. That's my guy. I love Kenshiro. I'm the president of the Kenshiro American Fan Club. Like right now, I think it'd be a bad fight for him. But if they do fight, I'm gonna root my ass off for him. It also needs to be your father in the apology video. Oh, we'll get the whole family if we have to. Shit. Listen, if Devin Haney wins, full credit to him. I'm not someone that's gonna downplay his win. You're fighting. Listen, you're fighting a real puncher with elite athleticism who's firing on all cylinders. So what is it a downplay? 216, and thank you for the super chat. 216 says, "Don't sleep on Tiger, man. Cleveland has dog." I picked Tiger tonight. A lot of people weren't picking Tiger Johnson. A lot of people were like, "Oh, Tiger Johnson kind of sucks. He don't got power. He's not this. He's not that." Listen, Tiger. I've always thought Tiger could punch a little bit. I think him being at 47 has filled him out. A lot of people were telling me. One guy tweeted me on Twitter and said that he thinks the Devin Haney Brian Norman fight is going to go like Tiger Johnson and Nicholas Flaus, with Flaus being Norman and Devin being Tiger Johnson. I don't see it because Tiger. One thing about Tiger throws at a higher output. He throws higher volume than Devin. Devin don't throw high volume. He throws ones and twos, one punch or two punches, single shots or two punches, clinches off of him, fights at his pace, keeps you on the outside, uses his legs. That's Devin's fight. That's how Devin fights. And sure, he may experiment. He may try to fight differently, but eventually, after about 2 or 3 rounds, you're going to go to what you know, and your tendencies are going to show up. So that's why it's very important when you're in the gym, you spar and you train how you fight, And I think he's going to go back to box how he knows how to box. Rohan Polanco versus Tiger Johnson. Who wins? Oof, that's a good fight. That's a hell of a fight. That's damn near like a pick 'em. I'm gonna go with Tiger in that one too. I like Tiger. I've always been high on Tiger. I like Rohan too. Rohan is good. I like Rohan, but I was high on Tiger. I remember I made a video about Tiger in 2022, and I was talking really highly about him. I probably said some crazy things in that video because I was really high on him back in 2022. And then he gets kind of plateaued for a little bit, and then I guess now he's found his real weight class, and now he's broken out in major fashion. So I don't know. Now I think if this Tiger shows up in that fight, I got Tiger. Kenshiro Taraji was down the scorecard against Akui before the stoppage. I know. I picked Seigo to win that fight. I picked Seigo for upset. I had Seigo Yuri Akui up like 7-4 after that. Going into the 12th. Great fight though. 2025 fight of the year for me, for sure. Clarissa says that Devin's actions when it comes to Shakur let you know how good Shakur is. Listen, everyone in the boxing world knows how good Shakur is. That's why when Shakur gets criticized, at least for me, whenever I criticize Shakur or say anything about Shakur that's not positive, it's only because I know how good he is. I know boxing. I don't know a lot of things in life. I know a little bit about boxing, so just a tad bit, and I know he has the potential to be a truly great fighter. Like, I'm talking like all-time great fighter, and I thought that for a long time. But yeah, Devin can't beat Shakur. What are your thoughts on Jin Suzuki's fight against Tanaka? I don't like it. I think he should fight some decent American fighter to get used to different styles. I think he can win that fight because Sora Tanaka, for as bad as Jin Suzuki's defense is, Sora Tanaka's defense is worse, and he's really undersized for welterweight. So I like that fight. As far as him winning, I don't like it because one thing about those domestic Japanese fights is those are the fights where people start dying. These Japanese fighters, when they fight each other, they don't exercise defense. They're not looking to box or defend or anything like that. So from a punishment aspect, because he just got knocked into the 8th dimension by Brian Norman Jr. I want to see Jin in there with somebody who's a bit like who doesn't punch as hard, who's not as aggressive, maybe a bit more of a mover, so he can deal with a different style. I'm more with you, but I ain't the matchmaker. Let me see. Do I got any more talking points left? Did I? No, I pretty much done ran through all my talking points. So listen, man, y'all can Y'all can go ahead and listen. Y'all ask whatever you want. Or we could talk some Luben if you want, some Luben and some Virgil. You know, if you guys are just tuning in, for those of you guys just popping in and joining True School After Dark, make sure you smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, run it up. Make sure you subscribe. We're on the road to 100,000 subscribers. I'm trying to get to 90,000 by the end of the year, and then hopefully next year could be the year that we break 100K. But yeah, man. If you guys don't know, if you're just tuning in, this live has been brought to you in part by. I'm gonna let Pops tell you who the sponsors of this live are today.
Thank Pops for his service. That's why
Storming Norman and Brian towing. There ain't nobody to fuck with. Get ready, Haney. There's gonna be a towing company coming near to your house to pick you up.
There you go. There you go. Brian Norman's towing. But shout out to my boy Virtuoso. Long time viewer. Good to see Virtuoso in the chat. Hope all is well with you. He says, I think COVID took Devin Haney's punch power. I haven't seen him knock anybody out since the Antonio Moran fight 6 years ago. Yeah, it's been a long time. But part of it too, like it's because it's not just because Devin Haney's not a big puncher. I also think it's an output thing. Devin is not a guy Devin Haney is not a fighter that throws a high output of punches. You're not going to see Devin Haney throw 3, 4, 5 punches. Like, for example, like Eric Luben, right? He's fighting tomorrow against Virgil. If Eric Luben hurts Virgil Ortiz tomorrow, I guarantee you he's going to throw 3, 4, 5 punches at a time. He's going to put them together. He's going to put the numbers together, and it's going to be very, very high output. Haney is not like that. Haney needs to hit you with the right shot from the right position, and it's not going to be no more than 2 punches. So that's another part of why he doesn't get knockouts. He could have knocked out Gamboa. He was, he don't really throw combinations like that. And then when he does throw combinations too, also his punch selection is not like diverse. He kind of has his ways he throws it. He has his combinations, his 2 or 3 combinations he likes to throw, and that's about it. He's not a versatile puncher, but he's very consistent and he's very technical, and that's why he's at where he's at today in boxing. So we'll see. Shakur versus Ryan for that green belt at 147. Shakur has to win a bet at 40. He hasn't even proven himself at 40. Let's tone down the Shakur Stevenson welterweight talk. He hasn't even proven himself at 40 yet. Let's see how he does against Teofimo Lopez. You understand? But yeah, let's talk some Luben Ortiz, because I haven't really had anything. I haven't said much about Ortiz Luben. This live, ironically, guys, was initially going to be a Luben versus Ortiz live, but then I'm like, you know what? Nah, man. Everyone's talking about Brian Norman and Devin. That's really what I want to talk about anyway. So it made a lot of sense. But as far as Luben versus Virgil Ortiz, I'm very intrigued about this fight. I see it as a chance for Luben to really like validate a lot of potential he had. Because again, I mentioned it earlier, Luben was signed by Mike Tyson Productions, Gary Jonas, all them guys, all that stuff, and he hasn't really made good on his potential. So tomorrow's his chance to really make good on his potential and finally, not become world champion, because Virgil's not a world champion, but get that big signature win that he's looked for such a long time. So I'm really intrigued. When I break it down stylistically, Virgil Ortiz is a guy that is front foot dominant. He's got a very good power jab, but because he's in the high guard, because he doesn't necessarily move his half the line, you can punch in between the shots. You can have success in that regard with Virgil. Sergey Boachuk showed us that. So I think Luben, where he may have a slight advantage, maybe with his lead hand, maybe with his jab, which I think, if that's the case, is problematic for Virgil. Now Virgil does have a very good power jab. I think he has one of the best power jabs in the business, but I think Luben has an educated of enough lead hand to offset that and control the fight in the center of the ring. So it's going to be incumbent upon Virgil Ortiz to push Eric Luben back, because if he can't do that, if he has a hard time doing that, then Luben might find himself on the verge of a Duran Ennis fight, because that they want to make the Duran Ennis Virgil Ortiz fight
which apparently I guess now is not a thing because Virgil Ortiz's dad came out in an interview and he was like, nah, no, we're not gonna do that fight. Like who has Boots fought? He's not fighting no one. It doesn't make any sense for us. So yeah, it's interesting. I'm picking Virgil Ortiz. I'm not gonna lie, I'm picking Virgil Ortiz. Because as good as Luben is, and I've said this earlier, like Luben he ticks all the boxes. Like when you look at like the attributes of what makes a champion, he's got dog in him. We know Luben's not no punk. He fights top competition. He has had the easiest road in his career. He's got the jab. He's got the speed. He's a versatile puncher. He can punch with both hands. Like there's a lot. Like when you look at Luben's career, it's just plus here, plus here, plus. It's just a bunch of pluses. But then he has that one glaring minus, and this one glaring minus always seems to show up in the big fights against Charlo. Actually, it's really two minuses. He's got like 8 or 10 pluses, but like 2 minuses. Those 2 minuses being durability issues and defensive lapses. I think Luben has showed in his career on a couple of occasions, plenty of occasions, where he's just had lapses defensively. I don't know if it's because of concentration. I don't know if it's because he's just not good with volume punchers or counter punchers. Because when he lost to Charlo, it was a counter punch. When he lost to Fundura, it was a volume. It was because the guy was a ridiculously big, anomaly of a volume puncher at 6'7", a giraffe. So Erickson Luben, I think really what this fight is going to be won and lost for him is durability. I think he has to be himself, like control the fight in the center of the ring, use your jab, and when Virgil, because Virgil punches himself into a square position. So like Virgil will really commit. He really commits to his offense. So he'll throw his jab, and then when he throws his right hand, sometimes he may fall over his front foot on the straight right hand, and as he's falling over, it gets him into a real square position. So when a guy's in a square position, you got the body here, the sides here, the flanks around the head, and so Luben's gonna have his chances. I think what I'm looking to see from Virgil Ortiz, because I like Virgil Ortiz. I'm a fan. Virgil, what I'm looking to see from Virgil is I want to see improvements in the balance department. I want to see improvements in patience. I want to see a bit less squaring up. And what would really impress me from Virgil Ortiz in this fight would be if he's able to dominate the center of the ring, because I'm expecting Luben to have a good amount of success tomorrow, or I should say today, in the center of the ring with that educated southpaw jab he has. I think he's going to lose the fight because inevitably I think he's going to go ahead and get pushed back, and Virgil will either outwork him or break him down in later rounds. But yeah, if Virgil Ortiz can show me some more boxing skills and dominate the center of the ring on Erickson Luben, that's going to be probably what would impress me the most. So my prediction, I haven't thought too deeply about my prediction. I'm picking Virgil, but let me see. I'll probably say Virgil Ortiz in. I'm gonna go with Virgil Ortiz in about 9 rounds. I think Luben's gonna be very prideful. I think he's gonna fight probably one of the best fights of his career in this fight. But I think durability is a big concern, and people like to say that Virgil Ortiz isn't skilled, and I don't think that's true. I think Virgil Ortiz is a skilled fighter. He's a skilled, aggressive fighter. Not every fighter who's skilled is just on their back foot and they're not skills don't always look the same with every fighter and every style. I think Virgil's very skilled, as is Luben. But Luben, like I said, you can improve your balance, you can improve your defense, you can improve your foot positioning, you could even improve like your boxing IQ through getting better sparring and more experience. But one thing that's very, very that you can improve is your durability. Some fighters can take a punch, some fighters can't. And Luben, obviously, like Luben's an elite, world-class fighter. So, and he's fought some killers. Like you got to give it to Luben. Like, if he wins a world title, he earned every bit of it. Like he fought Fundura, he fought Jermell Charlo when he really shouldn't have. He's fought some guys. He fought some top guys. Even Rosario was a good fight. Even though Rosario was a bit shot when he fought him, but he's fought names. You get what I'm saying. But you can't train durability. You can go in the gym. You could do your neck exercises to improve your neck and take the shots better. But some guys can take shots, and some guys they just can't take them as well. And I feel like he's just one of them guys. All the skills in the world, all the attributes, he's like one of those NBA players. He's like one of those NBA players that can score on the paint, that has a nice 15-foot mid-range jumper, but he can't hit anything from beyond the 3-point line. He's not a 3-level scorer. You understand? So that's what it is. Luben is very good. He got all the moves. He looks like a promising MVP candidate at times, but he's not a 3-level scorer. Ortiz needs to let his hands go and cut off the ring. Abel Ramos lost because he wasn't letting his hands go enough. You mean Jesus Ramos? I actually went back and I watched that fight. I feel like he got screwed. He was doing a lot of good work to the body that the judges weren't giving him credit for. And that's a consistent fallacy in boxing scoring these days. A lot of these judges, they don't reward body work. Body work gets ignored on a lot of fights. And that's one of those fights where I feel like body work was not valued, was not, really taken into consideration with the scoring. Because if it was, then there's no way in hell that Luben would have got the decision. All I know is that Haney has a way better resume than Brian Norman Jr., but that doesn't matter. Canelo Alvarez had a better resume than Terrence Crawford, and he lost. You can't take your resume into the ring with you. Inevitably, what only matters is that night and that fight. Hey, True School, what happens when the knockout punch doesn't land for Norman? He can still win a decision against Devin Haney. You think because, that's the misconception people have about me when I talk about this fight. They think that I'm just banking on Norman knocking out Devin Haney. And no, I think there's a path to victory where Brian Norman Jr. just pushes Devin Haney back the whole fight, hurts him multiple times in the fight, but Devin Haney doesn't go down because Devin Haney will be prideful and clinch and circle and move, be clever and box. But Brian Norman will just have the answers. So I think he's going to knock out. I think he's going to have. I think he will knock out Devin Haney because I don't believe in Devin Haney's durability or his confidence. As far as where he's at right now after the Ryan Garcia fight and Jose Ramirez. Also, too, when I watch the Jojo Diaz fight and just other fights in Haney's career, there's fighters that are not athletic at all. Y'all talking about Devin Haney being this athletic fighter, which, by the way, Devin Haney is not that athletic. He's a good, technical, consistent fighter. He is not he's not that athletic. In fact, he's probably one of the least athletic black fighters in boxing, if you want to just keep it all the way a spade. He's good because he's consistent. He's good because he knows his strengths and he fights to them. But he's not like this athletic fighter that people want to make him out to be. And when you look at guys like Jojo Diaz, who have an immense amount of success against him, Jojo Diaz has concrete in his boxing boots. He's landing overhand lefts on Devin Haney. He's closing the gap on Devin Haney. And it's like, come on. What are y'all watching? What are you are we watching the same? I know we can't be watching the same fighter. I know Brian Norman Jr. still has to prove himself in this big fight. Let's get it right. This is the big one for him. He still has to prove it. But y'all making it out like Devin Haney is like Michael Nunn or Floyd Mayweather or like James Toney or Guillermo Rigondeaux. Like he just has this masterful footwork and he's not that. Like he's a good, consistent fighter. He's got slightly above average foot speed. He's got below average power, but he's elite at fighting to his strengths. He knows who he is and he fights to his strengths. So, that's what it is. Him taking the Norman fight doesn't show confidence. He had to because Turkey wasn't going to let him fight Jose Ramirez after the shit show he just put on in Times Square. But I give him his due. Like, at least he took the fight. He could have just backed out of it. Like, good for him. But I'm watching him speak. I'm watching him talk. I watched the Ramirez fight. You know, I'm sorry. I just don't like what I see. If he listen, he's gonna have to show me. Norman has to show me too, because again, he's at a very elite level now with Haney, but Haney also has to show me. Have people actually seen Norman fight before? He can easily set up and put multiple big punches together. He's not a big punch plotting bum. Yeah, like they want us to think that like Brian Norman Jr. is like, you know, I don't know, some flat-footed Russian. You know, like he's not that. Like, no, just watch the fight. All you gotta do is just go watch his last 3 fights and just actually watch it. Like, don't watch it and be like, oh, well, who's this bum? Because that's what people do. They say, oh, who's Santiago? Who's Cuevas? These are the guys he fought to become champion. So it is what it is. He is like Mayweather. No, he's not. Stop. He's nothing like Floyd. He doesn't have Floyd's reflexes. He doesn't have Floyd's power at 135, 140, or 147. He's nothing like Floyd. You guys want hold on. Oh, y'all got me going now. I'm gonna show you guys. You guys want to know who Devin Haney is like? People say he's like Floyd. Is there anybody who thinks that Devin Haney is like Floyd in the chat? Let me know. Who? I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to show you guys who Devin Haney is like. Y'all keep saying Devin Haney is like Floyd. Devin Haney is this. He's that. No. This is who Devin Haney's like. This is Devin Haney. Devin Haney is Obakar with better marketing and better management and more dick riders. That's what Devin Haney is. You guys, so for the younger ones out there, or for the ones who don't know the boxing as well, you guys might not even know who Obakar is. You're like, who the hell is Obakar? Obakar was a good fighter. Obakar, I don't think he won a world title. Did he win a world title? I don't think he did. I know he got knocked out against De La Hoya. That was a good fight. That's actually probably one of my favorite De La Hoya fight. But look, Obakar was a good fighter, guys. Good technical fighter. You know, he wasn't a big puncher. You know, he only had a 57% KO ratio. And if you watch his fights, you know, skillful, consistent fighter, educated jab. But nothing really would jump off the page when you watch him fight. He's just good. Like, he knows his strengths and he fights to them. And funny enough, if you look at their height and reach, look, Obakar's height and reach is 5'9.5", 72-inch reach. Devin Haney's frame is identical, 5'9" with a 71-inch reach. So the frame is identical. Skills are identical. Good fighter. Obakar was a good fighter. Like, I don't think he won a world title. Let me see. Did he win a world title? Like, he lost. I know he lost to Ike Cortez early in his career. He lost to Trinidad. Like, he only lost to the best people. Like, he only lost like the top guys. He got knocked out by Trinidad. He you know, some people will say he got robbed against Ike Cortez, right? And then I know he got knocked out against De La Hoya. He beat Yuri. So he beat some good guys. He beat Yuri Boy Campus. He beat Frankie Randall. But he wasn't like a special. He was a good fighter, but he wasn't special. That's who Devin Haney reminds me of. And I've been saying this for years. I know a lot of you guys watch Sean Tatel. If y'all go catch Sean Tatel on live, go ask him how long I've been saying this. I've been saying it for a long ass time. Devin Haney to me is the modern day Obakar with better marketing and management. That's my opinion. And he's in a weaker era, because look at all those guys Obakar had to fight. He had to fight De La Hoya. He had to fight Cortez. He had to fight, you know, Felix Trinidad. Those guys are all Hall of Famers, you know, all-time great type fighters, you know. Y'all secretly hate Devin. I don't hate Devin. I see Devin for what he is. Like, he's a good fighter. He's a consistent fighter. but he's not a special fighter. And that's my gripe with a lot of people. You know, you get people here in the YouTube box community, people on Twitter, and they try to say, well, Devin is this and Devin is that. Well, look, he'll get his chance to prove it on November 22nd as he goes up and he fights someone bigger and younger than him for like the first time in his career, right? But he ain't special. And I think, you know, Devin Haney has benefited from a weak era where guys don't like to fight each other, where fighters have more money available to them so they can maneuver more than they did during the time of Obakar. Who knows? Maybe if there was like, you know, more money in boxing and more networks, maybe a guy like Obakar could have been undisputed. Maybe they could have managed him to be undisputed, but, you know, it wasn't like that. You had HBO and you had Top Rank and you had Don King controlling boxing. That was it. Like, that's what it was. You had to fight. And that's what he did. And he had a good career, but he wasn't a champion. But he beat guys that won titles. He beat Frankie Randall. He beat Yuri Boy Campus, but he wasn't a champion. Don't compare Devin to people with no belts. Only compare him to undisputed champs. If you don't, that's hate. No, because the reality is like, look, man, some eras are better. Some eras is worse. You know, and I'm not speaking for boxing. I'm saying for certain divisions. There's no way in hell, like, you can't compare, like, the lightweight division Devin fought in to, like, the division that Obakar was fighting in when he had to fight, like, De La Hoya and Corte and Trinidad. You can't. Like, you really can't. Congrats on being undisputed. It's a magnificent accomplishment. I'm not going to take it away from him, but I'm also not going to ignore what I can see on the film. In fact, I'm going to give y'all a homework assignment. Everyone who's here who's never seen Obakar fight, I challenge you to go watch Obakar versus De La Hoya or Trinidad, and I want you to come back and tell me him and Devin Haney don't fight alike. Tell me they don't fight alike. Straight up. You can only fight in his era. You moving the goalposts. I'm not moving the goalposts. I'm telling you what he is. He's a good fighter. I'm not saying he's like you guys making it out saying like I'm saying Devin Haney's a bum or he's trash. I'm not saying that. I'm saying he's a good fighter. I'm saying he's accomplished some remarkable things in his career because that's also true. But he's not a special fighter. And to be fair, in the whole sport of boxing, every era, there aren't a whole lot of special fighters. Not everyone can't be special, all right? Not everyone can be the winner. You know, I know like in Little League and some of these little leagues these days, all the kids get a trophy, but guess what? Not everyone's special. Not everyone can be the champion. So my thing is, Obakar and Devin Haney fought Daniel the same. And I've been saying this for years. I'm probably going to clip this segment because the people need to hear this. You know, I'm hearing people say that. Like I was listening to a live. I forgot who it was. I was listening to some live, and I heard a guy say recently that Devin Haney has like 7 different styles because he trained with all these different trainers. And in my opinion, I actually think that Devin Haney has a identity problem in the ring. Like when things get tough, I feel like sometimes he don't know when to box and when to punch. I feel like, you know, his balance is messed up because, like, if you look how he throws his jab, his whole weight shifts to his front foot and his back leg flares up. Like, he has things that I think are there because he's trained with so many different trainers and there's so many different ideologies. You know, he's trained with Roy Jones, Mike McCallum, and Mayweather Sr. and Al Mitchell and Fareed and Mickey Bay and all these guys. Like, and respect to all those guys I named. I met most of them. They're all brilliant boxing minds, but there is such a thing in boxing as too many cooks in the kitchen. And I feel like the flaws that Devin Haney does have as a fighter, a lot of them stem from the fact that he's got ideas from here, ideas from here, ideas from here. And, you know, it is what it is. I actually feel like that's what's limited him that's what limits him as a fighter, because he doesn't get enough time in one coach to really like absorb the philosophies of what the coach is trying to show him. So he just got all these different things going on. But that's my opinion, for what it's worth. My little 2 cents. Oh my God! Stop! Like, stop it! No, it's not. It's not. It's not on that level. It is not on that level. Like, he has a good jab. It's not on that level. You can't even compare him to Bud, bro. Bud literally doesn't even. Bud spends most of his time boxing out of the southpaw stance. You can't compare them jab wise. You can't. I seen him fight live, and I can see the comparison. Definitely different comparison. I'm a Trinidad fan. Ike would have been a tough fight, different level opposition for Carr. I'm not arguing. There's no arguing going on here. Listen. They call arguing. I'm just telling y'all the truth. What are Brian Norman Jr.'s flaws? I love it. Thank you for asking that question. Brian Norman Jr.'s flaws, I think, from what I've seen, and I've been watching him a lot. You know, I'm really excited for this fight, and when I get really excited for fights, I really like go crazy. Brian Norman's flaws. I think Brian Norman sometimes he leaps a lot. Like when he throws his left hook, he likes to leap with that left hook. So you know, I could see a scenario where if he does leap with the left hook, Devin could counter him with the right hand. One problem Brian Norman had earlier in his career, which I thought was disgusting to watch. He used to smother his punches a lot. He used to look like a Timu bootleg fake ass Sean Porter. That's how he used to fight. Like when he fought like Korea and them early guys. I think the guys Campos, some kind of guys from the early top rank fights. Like I'm talking about even before he fought Randall. Like because he had 2 fights on top rank before he fought Randall. He smothered a lot. So I don't think his weak. Like a lot of people will say, well, his weakness is that he doesn't have feet. No. Brian Norman's very athletic. I think Brian Norman has feet. I don't think feet is gonna be his problem in this fight. I think Brian Norman's where Brian Norman could get into real trouble against Devin Haney, I can see it. Is if I could see Brian Norman actually beating the brakes off Devin Haney, and then he just get too cocky and maybe he leaping with a left hook and then bang, and then Devin Haney just catch him right on the chin, right way one time. And, you know, crazier things have happened in boxing. A lot of people didn't think Andre Ward could knock out Kovalev in the rematch, and then boom, we touched him on the chin, and boom, that was it. You understand? So things happen in this sport. So yeah, I would say leaping in with the left hook, and definitely smothering his punches. And you know he has had this problem over the last 3 fights, but if Devin Haney is able to control the ring with his feet, I could see a scenario where maybe he gets Brian Norman Jr. to reach and overcommit like he did with Janelson Figueroa, Boca Chica, and then maybe Devin Haney will counter off of that. So I would say those are Brian Norman's flaws from what I could see. But from what I've seen, and I went back and I've watched these fights 2, 3, 4 times over again. Listen, guys, this fight is it's a fight that I'm really excited about. Like I've watched Brian Norman's fights from when he was like 5-0, 7-0. I watched training footage of Brian Norman when he was a kid. Like anything. I've watched training footage. Is that Devin Haney when he was a kid? Like amateur fights, everything you could think of. I've been watching it, and that's what I can see from Norman. But Norman and his dad, I feel like they've done a great job correcting a lot of those things he had in his career. Now, look, if it really is all just smoke and mirrors, and it's only because they have the right guy in front of them, well, then guess what? Devin Haney will have the honor of exposing him for us, and maybe who knows, man? If Devin Haney really do his thing and beat the brakes off Norman, maybe it'll be me coming here on YouTube and saying, you know what, Brian Norman Jr. exposed by Devin Haney. We shall see. Thank you for the super chat. When Norman resets, he does his closed speed pendulum step, which gets him out of the stance and position. Yeah, I've seen that at times. So look, there you go. That's one thing Devin could definitely exploit. But one thing that I've seen in Norman's career, which is why I'm so confident he's gonna win, is I've just seen adjustments. Mistakes he makes in one fight, they don't continue. Like you don't. If you watch. Was it Korea or the first fights he had on Top Rank all the way to Sasaki? It's just like dramatic improvement. Not to say that there isn't flaws, but they learn real quick. And part of being great in boxing is making adjustments while you're still winning. A lot of fighters, they got to get their ass up to finally adjust and see their flaws. The great ones are looking at what they're doing wrong when they're winning and correcting them quickly and swiftly. And that's what I feel. Norman has good lead hand control recently too, top feigning to get your hands out of position. And not just that. One thing Norman really has going in his favor is that he's got very good timing. He's very good. If you jab with him, he's very good at countering over your jab, which I'm very intrigued to see because Devin Haney does have a world-class jab himself. But where I think Norman could have an edge is it's a matter of hand positioning. Devin, we all know the narrative about the bow and arrow jab and those kind of things. Norman doesn't have that problem. So I think fundamentally speaking, Norman might have an edge there. We're going to find out. I can't wait. Listen, if Devin wins, full credit. We're going to find out. Who adjusts more, Devin or Norman? If you say Norman, we got to watch the fight together. Who adjusts more? Honestly, if we're being objective, I think you could you could definitely say Devin has made. You'll say Devin probably adjusts better because he's had more fights to show that he could adjust better. Like Lomachenko, I thought he had a good adjustment in the middle rounds. He closed the gap a bit more and started focusing more on the body. But really and truthfully, when Devin has fought guys close to his size, I haven't really seen a lot of adjustments, to be honest. And Norman, a lot of times he hits these guys and they just fall. But what I will say is this. When Norman fought Derek Cuevas, Cuevas clipped Norman. I think it was in the first or second round. The first or second round with a left hook. And Derek Cuevas can punch. I know Derek. Derek. I listen, guys. See, y'all don't really be knowing who you're talking to when it comes to this boxing. Like, I know about Derek Cuevas because Derek Cuevas used to train in South Florida. He used to train at the Heavyweight Factory, and he headlined like four shows locally in my area. I saw him fight like 3 or 4 times live. Derek can punch. I was excited when Norman and Cuevas got announced. Like I was excited for that fight because I knew Norman could punch and I knew Cuevas could punch. So I knew that someone was going to get punched out, and it happened to be Cuevas. But before it was Cuevas got Norman first. He clipped Norman with the left hook to the head, and he buckled him a bit. And then Norman, he made an adjustment. Norman said, "You know what? I gotta stop reaching. I gotta be a bit more. I can't be sacrificing my distance just to reach, my balance just to reach. Nah, man." And the minute he made that adjustment, the minute he stopped reaching, and the minute he got switched on with his jab and got Derek Cuevas' timing down, you saw what happened. So I've seen Norman not on the level of like a Lomachenko fight make an adjustment, but I've seen him make an adjustment in in the Cuevas fight, even though it wasn't a fight that went rounds. I could tell Cuevas could punch, and he didn't have to turn his punches over. It's hard to buzz you. No, I'm telling y'all, Derek Cuevas can punch. I've seen it. I've seen Derek Cuevas hit the bag, spar, all that stuff. Derek can punch. Derek was like a Puerto Rican amateur national champion, all that blase. He was, believe it or not, guys, like it sounds crazy because that's why boxing is so crazy, because a lot of these guys that people wind up saying aren't shit were actually supposed to be something. Like Derek Cuevas, when he was signed, there was a good little buzz in the industry about Derek, like about what he was supposed to become. Some people thought he had world championship potential, and then he had a fight. Derek had a fight in 2020, and I was at this fight. He had a fight in 2020 against Argentinian. It was the only loss of his career before Brian Norman Jr. John David Jackson was his trainer. He didn't get knocked out or anything, but like he just got outworked. And in that fight, what I learned about Derek Cuevas is that he's a bit of a front runner, and you can get to him. And they started matching him real carefully after that. But one thing that you ask anybody in boxing, anybody who sparred with him, seen him in the gym, really watched him fight, Derek could punch. So to me, Derek Cuevas was a good win. The way he beat him. That's what I'm saying. Like, people say, "Oh, well, who are these guys that Norman has fought?" Look, man. Cuevas can, like, Santion was supposed to be the future of the division. Cuevas can punch like an MFer. Like, I've seen it in the gym. I've seen it like on the pads, but he can punch. People will say Sasaki is a bum, right? Which is, you can question Sasaki, right? Like, he's a Japanese welterweight. They don't really got a lot of heat over there in Japan in the welterweight division. They're more like lighter weight categories. I get it. But one thing we're not going to do is act like Sasaki can't punch. And if you don't believe me, go look up his knockout compilation. Go look at like the guys he's knocked out. Devin don't knock out guys like that, the way Jin knocked them out. So I'm saying, like, it's just been punch. It's been puncher after puncher after puncher after puncher. Like, so we shall see. Devin's going to present a different challenge, and that's what I'm excited about. So it's a great fight, man. And I'm probably going to talk. I'm probably going to talk about this fight like 150 more times before it happens, because when you get a fight like this, in boxing, where like there's talking going on, vibrant personalities like Bill Haney and Brian Norman Jr. and Sr., great fan bases, the fan base are passionate about it. You get a lot of fun, man. I have not been this excited for a fight in boxing since Brian Norman fought Jin Sasaki, but that was more like a personal thing. Like, I like Brian, I like Jin. I was in Japan. They both can punch. I knew someone was getting knocked the fuck out. So, that. But this fight is a bit different. Nah, Sasaki was ranked number 2 in the WBO. That's not correct. You're wrong about that. And one thing about Norman, too, once he found out you were a sucker for a punch, he's going to keep setting you up for it. Once he started landing the uppercut versus, oh my God. Like that 2-1 that he kept landing on Cuevas. And it's crazy because that's such a hard punch for, like, it looks so basic when he does it, but anybody who's done any minimal amount of boxing knows, like, when you go to the boxing gym, most places, the first combination you learn is just throwing a basic 1-2. Or if you're a southpaw, in my case, 1-2. It's very weird for most people, and it's very difficult for most people to throw the inverted 2-1 to lead. You're gonna lead. So if you're an orthodox fighter, you're gonna lead. Boom, and then boom. And then to make the jab a power jab to where it hurts the opponent off that combination, it's next level shit. It's so simple, but it's equally sophisticated. And that's what's so great about boxing, is like the simplest shit is sophisticated. But yeah, man, listen, man. I ain't gonna have y'all talk. Listen, that's what I'm saying. Listen. I want Brian Norman to win. It's not gonna be it's not gonna be an easy fight. Devin's a prideful fighter, he's a skillful fighter. But I'm telling y'all right now, y'all better hope. The worst outcome for the YouTube box community and the Haney fans is for Devin Haney to get knocked out before the 5th round. Because if he gets knocked out before the 5th round, that means that he will have gotten knocked out faster than Jin Sasaki. And y'all don't want that, because I'm going to be talking crazy. Y'all think I'm talking crazy now? Don't let him get knocked out before the 5th round. That's what we need. I'm pretty sure Brian Norman Sr. and Bill are gonna talk their shit. Bill Haney's gonna be like, he's gonna be like, tell the motherfucking truth about Dev. Deebo Dev coming to take your motherfucking chain. I can't wait. Nah, BT, the worst outcome is he gets knocked out, and as he rebuilds up, he ends up having to fight. Oh, man. If Devin, listen, guys. If Devin gets knocked out against Brian Norman Jr., and then he got to fight Jin Sasaki, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear y'all talking about how hard of a punch you think he is. No. And then imagine Jin if Jin catch Devin with one of them crazy-ass left hooks. Oh, my God. Then we're going to have to really, really talk, So we'll see, man. But yeah, people say like, oh, Jin Sasaki was garbage, and fair play. Like, he wasn't, like, he's from Japan. But guys, just go look up his highlight compilation. Like, it's there. He was knocking shit out. He still got one of the highest knockout ratios in the division. How did Deebo Devin Haney's lights get put out with the brick? And B said he has bricks for hands. These are facts. They are facts. I've seen the shits in person. They look like some bricks. Please stop, y'all. Y'all bragging on Lucky Punch. Norman would have lost if he would have lost if who was top tier. If Jin was top tier, I'm not saying Jin was top tier. I'm calling Jin Sasaki what he is. I'm saying Jin Sasaki is a wild gunslinging fighter who, if he does catch you with one of them wild ass punches, will sit you down. He's one of the hardest punches in the welterweight division. That's what I'm saying. Even though his body's undersized and he looks like a little boy compared to a lot of guys, yo, he touch you one of the left hooks, you're gonna get sit the fuck down. Don't worry, after Devin gets put out, they can do Jin Sasaki versus Devin Haney as a comeback fight, and then we can see how Devin Haney. We can see if Devin Haney does as good as Brian Norman. Sasaki landed multiple hard hooks on Norman, and he ain't budge. There was a couple of times where Jin would land the left hook or graze left hook, and Norman had to be at least cognizant of it. Of course, Norman was able to eventually, knock his ass out and beat the brakes off of him. But a couple of times where Jin would just fling his left hook in the air like that, and it would graze Norman. Norman had to be at least weary of it. That's what Jin does. Jin may not land on you flush, and it will look sloppy, and you will eventually figure it out if you're a world-class fighter. But he's gonna at least give you something to think about, because he's gonna throw it over and over and over again, and it's up to you to make the adjustment. I would like to see Jin develop like a right hand and a jab, but we shall see. No, he was. I was there. I was the only person in American boxing media that was there at the fight. ESPN wasn't even there. I was there. I seen this shit. Jin came to fight. He did his best, but it's what it is. I'm a new fan of baseball, man. So much safer to watch than boxing. Well, I like baseball too. But let's say the baseball channel. Shout out to the Dodgers, though, I guess. Nah, Haney ain't giving Jin a title fight. Who said Devin wasn't have a title? Who said Devin wasn't have a title? We're talking about Devin Haney coming off of a devastating knockout loss to Brian Norman Jr., getting picked by Mr. Honda to go to Japan and fight in the gymnasium. Yes, getting paid good money. Yes. That's what I'm saying. If you're a skilled boxer, you know what you're doing, you can handle the heat, you're going to find a way to dissect him and beat him. And if you got power, you will figure him out. But if you can't handle the heat, he's going to fling that shit out there. And he don't care. Jin is a glutton for punishment. I don't think he's going to have a very long career, to be honest with you. Just based on things I know about him, from watching him spar, training habits, how he fights. I don't think he's going to have a long career. I would like him to do very, very well and go as far as he possibly can, because I like the guy. But I'm just being real. But yeah. Norman Sr., Norman Jr., he is brought. Who is brought? Pete Dobson versus Jesus Sriracha. A good fight, man. It's hard because I like Pete. I like Pete a lot. Pete's my friend. I like Pete. Pete, I want to pick him so bad. I really want to pick Pete Dobson to win. But Pete doesn't come into these fights in shape. He doesn't come into fights in shape. So I'm going to have to go Jesus Sriracha, unfortunately. But I wish Pete the best. I would like Pete to come out victorious and put on a great performance. But I'll go with Sriracha win by decision. I think Pete is tough. Pete's durable. Pete's strong. Pete's a very experienced fighter. He's been in there with really good fighters, like in the gym. He's sparred like Jerron Ennis, Terrence Crawford. In the ring, he's been there with guys like, what's that guy's name? I'm drawing a blank right now. Who's that lanky black kid he lost to? I'm drawing a blank right now. But he fought Conor Benn. He fought the other black Malik. Was it Malik? I forgot his name. How do you know Pete Dobson doesn't be in shape for his fights? Well, I know Pete, Jaleel Hackett. I know Pete. Like I know him. Like when he when okay, I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example. When Pete was getting ready to fight Conor Ben, I was actually there in the gym, because he was training in Florida. He was training at Beta Bay Boxing in Florida, and he sparred one of my good friends, who's a 140 pounder, and he wasn't like maintaining himself in between the fights. He wasn't in like optimum shape going into camp. Like, because normally, like, you're supposed to stay within a certain amount of your fighting weight. You're not supposed to blow up too high. He blew up too high, and he still did good against Conor Ben. But I feel like the 100% focus, discipline Pete Dobson could have beat Conor Ben, because really he had plenty of opportunities in that fight to do more than he did, but he couldn't do it because he wasn't in shape. When he fought Jaleel Hackett, again, he wasn't in the best shape. The only time I really seen him in the best shape was when he fought Jose Miguel Borrego. If that Pete Dobson could show up, then that Pete Dobson could beat Jesus Sriracha, but I don't know. Do you think Norman's body is outgrown 147? And if so, how long do you think he still got until he moves up? It's a good question. The thing that Norman has going on his side is that he fights pretty close to his walk around weight, so it's not really a sharp weight cut. I would say at minimum he probably has 2 fights left. If it's a bad weight cut, let's just say it's a bad weight cut. I still think for 2 fights, even if he's having a hard time, he can make 147. But I think probably I don't think his weight is bad, so I'll probably say 4 or 5 fights. If he's 158, then he's good. Like he's solid. He's already 10, 11 pounds within his fighting weight. It's November 8th, right? Well, the 22nd is 2 weeks away. So you're talking about what? Every 2 weeks, you just gotta lose like what? 3 pounds, like what? That's 11 pounds. So lose about 3.5, 4 pounds each week, or you could lose, 5. It depends on how every fighter's body's different, but they're fine. If their weight is 158, they're gonna be A-okay. But I don't think I don't think he'll be a 54 pounder anytime soon. Just being honest. But we'll see. Listen, man, people have bad things to say about Top Rank, and like Top Rank's on Tubi, Top Rank don't got a network. But Top Rank is still the best at evaluating talent. Top Rank is still the best at building fighters, and that's why they will always have a place in the fight game because they're always going to be ahead. So Dobson has come back. Do you think he would have beaten Floss tonight? Honestly, no, I don't. I like Pete, but no. I think his style was a bit better for Floss. Pete, if you look at his punches, his punch selection, he throws an up jab, he throws a left hook, and he don't really throw the right hand like he should. And it's not like if he's not in shape like he needs to be, it's not going to be high output. When Pete's at his best, he's boxing, he's moving, he's countering, he's throwing 3-4 punches at a time, he's getting out. But I can't trust, based on what I've seen the last 3 fights of his, I can't trust that he'd be in optimum shape. Even though I want him to be, and yeah. Hell, you know what? Like, I was in Japan. I was in Jin Suzuki's gym when Pete Dobson was sparring Jin Suzuki. I saw them spar each other. I know all about it. I'm the one who got Pete Dobson to spar Jin for the damn fight because they asked that's a whole long story, but yeah. Trust me, man. Me and Pete are good, man. That's my guy. Like, I want Pete to really get everything he can out of his boxing career. I love Pete. Like, Pete's a great guy. Senior say that they don't have to start cutting for real till like 3 days before. That's about right. Because I'll give you an example, right? I'll give you an example of weight cutting, based upon something I just went through when I was in the Bay Area. So when I was in the Bay Area, as many of you know, I was in the Bay Area for 44 days. I was helping guide and assist Yuga Osaki, who is like one of the best young fighters in the world, like top fighter, one of the fighters I think will be a champion next year from Japan. A guy that I think if he puts it all together could not just be a champion, but be one of them guys that really like carves a name for himself in Japan in the post-Inoue era when he retires. Like I love the kid. Yuga is a big light flyweight. He's like 5'6" and some change. So we had a good weight cut. Like he was supposed to fight October 3rd in an eliminator. That fight got canceled. But I remember like roughly, I'm gonna say about like 10 days. Like 10 days before the fight, we were like at like, I think he got as low as about one, because he has to make weight at 108. I think he was like at 113 or 114. Like he was making he was having a smooth weight cut. He wasn't tired. He was taking the weight out gradually. So yeah, you don't really start cutting until like the last couple of days if you're doing it properly. But some dudes, you gotta have a fat camp. But like he was taking like every couple of days, he lose like a pound here, pound here, pound there, coming off nice and smooth. That's how you want that's how you want weight cuts to be. You want your weight cuts to be nice and smooth. You don't want to get like too close to the weight too soon. You don't want to cut weight to where the fighter feels sluggish. If anything, you're doing a good weight cut when the fighter can eat like good food that tastes good and lose weight. Like that's how you know weight cut is good. Like when the fighter can eat like grilled chicken, steak, all those kind of things, and cut weight and do it smoothly, that's when you know weight cut is good. And that's what we were doing. Like we was. I learned that from your channel. Well, yeah, there's nowhere else you could have learned that from. That was a True School exclusive, because the story was, Angelo Leo trained at that gym as part of the first phase for the Kameda fight for training camp. While we were there, they asked me if I knew anybody that could spar Jin. So then I made some calls, and then they decided on Pete. So that's what it was. Brian is the kind of fighter you're also standing behind. He fights often, well-spoken, and don't act a fool, and he doesn't carry a purse. Listen, I fuck with Brian Norman Jr. Brian Norman Jr. is one of my favorite fighters in boxing. He's earned it. Like the thing with him is like a lot of these guys that like are famous or get notoriety in boxing. It's like the promoters push them down our throats, and sometimes it don't feel organic. But see what Norman, like, we saw his struggles. We saw Norman like be not that good on TV, and we saw him mature in front of our eyes, back against the wall, about to get cut by Top Rank, bang, beat the brakes off Santion. Now we're seeing charisma, and like I like what he's telling the world. Like he's saying, look, man, be yourself. Be yourself. Work hard. Work so hard that people think you're crazy. The messages he's sending and just how he goes about his business, like, we need more of that in boxing. So I'm behind him. Like if he loses, it is what it is. But I'm a fan. Win, lose, or draw, I'm a fan of Brian Norman Jr. I like everything about him as a fighter and as a person. And I wish there was more people like him. Nonita was about to fight Seiya Tsutsumi. Can you tell me anything about? Oh my God, Seiya Tsutsumi. That's one of the most vicious fighters from Japan. Japan got a lot of vicious fighters, but he's one of the most vicious fighters. Let me tell you something about this fight. This fight has been about a year in the works, because last year around this time, Nonita Donaire and Rachel Donaire requested a top 5 ranking from the WBA, right? And I remember when that news came out, I made a video about it. And if you don't believe me, go in the search bar and type in Nonita Donaire, Seiya Tsutsumi, True School Sports in the search bar, and you should find a video from about a year ago. And it's a video of me walking the streets of Japan. I was in Toshima, Tokyo, Japan. And I said in that video that this fight is a very bad idea. It's a stupid idea. It is an idea that could possibly get Nonita Donaire very, very, very hurt, because Seiya Tsutsumi is a fighter that gets stronger as the fight goes on. Seiya Tsutsumi is a fighter that puts together a lot of punches, but he can also box, but he can also shift. He is, in my opinion, because at one point in time, Japan had all the world champions at bantamweight. They had Junta Nakatani. They had Seiya Tsutsumi. They had Ryosuke Nishida, and they had Yoshiki Takei. I was very adamant, and I banged my freaking hands on the table, and I said, look, after Junta Nakatani, the best bantamweight in the world is Seiya Tsutsumi, not Yoshiki Takei, not Ryosuke Nishida. And guess what? Time has been very kind to me and proving me correct. So in closing, to answer your question, I respect Donaire. He's a future Hall of Famer. I love him. I got a lot of admiration for him as a fighter and a person and what he stands for. But this is a terrible idea. And if he wins, then I guess it's another notch under his belt. But I hate the fight. If I'm just being honest. Oh boy, Donaire still has power, good speed, skills, but I can't stand the damage he takes. I mean, look, I don't want to say too much because you guys know I'll be around these gyms and stuff, so I'll be seeing things like sometimes. Father Time is undefeated. Sure, he does. Sure, he definitely has like a lot of. He still has some power, but I think if he was gonna fight, in my opinion, if he was gonna fight at bantamweight, like if you would have said BT, out of all the guys, Nonito shouldn't fight at bantamweight. Who's like the top guy? This would have been the first name out of my mouth. Honestly, that's my honest opinion. Because it's because of how Seiya Tsutsumi fights. It's a lot of punches. Nonito Donaire has already taken a lot of damage in his career. He's gonna take some damage in this fight. There's no even if he wins. He fought this guy from Costa Rica, the guy Andres Campos. Andres Campos was an opponent that fought Sonny Edwards, and Sonny Edwards beat Andres Campos. The fight ended because it ended on a technical decision because of a head clash. And I'm gonna tell you this right now, that's a bad omen for Donaire, because Seiya Tsutsumi is a guy that likes to shift and gets in real close. In fact, I'm gonna say that more than likely Nonito Donaire is going to get cut in this fight from a head clash, because Tsutsumi switches from orthodox to southpaw. He's always in the fighter's chest. He does not get tired. This is one of them guys that, like, okay, if he's throwing 60 punches in the 7th round, he's gonna throw 90 in the 10th. That's the kind of fighter he is. I've seen it. I mean, I was in Japan. I was in Japan back in January. I saw him spar Saul Sanchez. If you guys know who Saul Sanchez is, I saw him spar 8 rounds. I won't really talk on it much because I don't want to disrespect people's the code of the gym. But like, the dude don't get tired. Like the shit I seen on TV, it was verified more in person. Like the dude does not get tired, and he was sparring like a guy that's been at the top, a top contender in the division before, in Saul Sanchez. So it's a bad fight. It's a real bad fight. So yeah, man. Yeah, make sure you smash that like button, guys. It's your boy BT, the untouchable True School Sports Empire. True School After Dark. It's already been 2 hours, almost 2.5 hours. So listen, man, I somehow still got energy. I don't know how. I guess all those prayers and push-ups and lunges I did before the live has me fired up. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button, super chat, all that good stuff. Let's keep talking. Let me see. Why do you think Devin and Bill try to push for 10-ounce gloves? Why do you think Devin and Bill tried to push for 10-ounce boxing gloves 2 times? 10 ounces? I mean, it's at that high level, everyone's always trying to get an advantage. So whether it's like, trying to weaponize the drug testing, because apparently Norman's been tested like 9 times, which is fair. Like if the Normans agree to it and everybody has a mutual understanding, then it is what it is. But they're up in the drug testing, right? Norman doesn't have a problem with it. But if the glove is heavier, that means Norman will punch a little bit less harder, a little bit less. But listen, one thing I know about boxing, and I've stood about 10 feet from the bag when Brian Norman's punching it, and I've seen a lot of fighters punch bags and all kinds of stuff. His power is different, guys. If a guy can punch, it don't matter if it's 8, 10, 12, 16. If he punches you the right way with anything, you go into the morgue. You go into the shadow realm. So at the end of the day, it's all about, can you hit the target? Can you be effective? Can you set up your shots? I was watching some training clips of Brian Norman today, from when he was a kid, and he's always been athletic and he's always had feet. So it's kind of funny hearing people say he has no footwork, because if you go and you watch his So are they weaponizing the drug testing? Please stop, my bro. I mean, it's possible. I mean, 9 times is a lot. They're not complaining about it, and I'm not either. I'm just telling you, not is 8 or 9 times not a lot. I mean, it doesn't matter. Honestly, it doesn't matter. They can drug test him till the cows come home. He gets clipped. He's not a better fighter than Brian Norman Jr. at 147. That's what I do know. So, bro, I was like 3 feet from B Jr. when he was hitting the bag. It was thudding power. It's very thudding power. I remember there's a short on this channel. You guys can go check it out. Brian Norman Jr. was doing like his George Foreman impression. So type in like Brian Norman Jr. George Foreman. It should pop up, and you'll see how close I was to the bag. It was different. His power is different. He's easily one of the hardest punches I've ever seen. And I've been around. I've been to England. I've been to Japan. I've been all over the West Coast, Vegas, California, New York, all over Florida, Nicaragua. I've seen all kinds of fighters. There's fighters I forgot about, like, that I could punch. Like, I forgot more boxing a lot. It's crazy. Oh, you mean this one? He said that video was fire. The one where he names his face. You mean this one right here? Hold on. You mean this one? You mean this video?
But we ain't looking for the decision.
Correct.
We got the judge. And I think that's from the jury. I said, which one of them? No, that's the jury. That's the jury. This the judge, right? I'm trying to figure out which one was which.
Yeah.
Hey, they twins, so I get them mixed up sometimes. I have to look at the skull. I have to look at the individual skull. He's like a birthmark.
Yeah.
So I look at the individual skull and tell them apart. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, now we got the.
There you go. The judge and the jury. We're gonna see. I can't wait for the 22nd. He was standing still punches. He will not get that off on Dev. Well, we shall see. We shall see. Jojo Diaz seemed to have a good time getting it off on Dev, and he was standing still. So we shall see. But oh damn. Okay. Well, shout out to you. Oh no, the video where B names his own fist in the ring open workout. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what video you're talking about. The one from the workout yesterday. I'm not even sure I watched the whole workout. I just seen like clips. It's coming out probably after Junior signed up for the VADA test already. Well, yeah, like they started whining. I remember like Devin and Bill, like he signed up for VADA testing already, and they started going all crazy about it. So it is what it is. Look, drug testing, no drug testing, the better man is gonna win. So if it's Brian Norman, it's Brian Norman. If it's Devin Haney, it's Devin Haney. I really do believe, like, yeah, at the top level, fighters can try to manipulate the outcome as much as they can. But I believe that the ring is at the chamber of truth. So whoever put in the better work, whoever was more efficient in training camp, whoever was more intelligent with how they went about their training camp, that's who's going to win. Straight up. Oh, Brian Norman shows up dangerous power and fork for Jin Sasaki. Oh, that's my video. That's literally my video. So thank you. Devin don't punch on the move like his fans say. He do punch. When he punches, he's set. Norman Sr.'s dad said he's a marcher. I seen that. And constantly picking his feet up. Yeah, man, I seen it. And his back leg be flaring up. Like when he jabs, his back leg flares up. That's no go. Devin was fighting different against all the punches. What's gonna happen on the 22nd? What punchers? Like what punchers on level of Norman has he fought? You know what? He's at 47. I'm gonna give Devin Haney the benefit of the doubt. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt because he has more energy. He's not gonna be drained. So I'm expecting him to show more from an offensive standpoint. I'm expecting it. Yeah, he was saying I forgot what he said, but I watched the video. It's my video. I was there, so thank you. What are y'all watching? The sport of boxing, pugilism, the Marcus of Queensbury. What are you watching? Devin, I don't know. Devin. Nah, man. But yeah, man, Virgil Ortiz, Luben tomorrow are gonna be a good one. I'm gonna go live after the fight. I'm not gonna go live during the fight, but I'll be here and I'll be live after the fight. So we'll definitely have a lot to discuss with that fight. You know, I'm looking forward to seeing if Luben can rise to the occasion and beat Virgil, because I feel like he does have some tools. It's just that will the chin fail him? Will the durability get in the way again? And yes, I'm picking Virgil Ortiz. I'm definitely picking Virgil Ortiz. I don't trust. Luben got all the skills in the world. Durability always fails him. So and honestly, when he fought Adriel Holmes, I didn't like what I saw. I know Adriel Holmes is a bit of a lanky guy, doesn't have a great style, but I think Virgil Ortiz will beat him. I think people say Virgil, and don't get it twisted. Virgil has he has his flaws. Like Virgil does have his flaws. He squares up a lot. You can punch through the high guard. There's some things about Virgil's skill set that I hate, that he needs to really correct if he wants to go beat a guy like Boots Ennis. But for Luben, he'll beat him. Luben is gonna have to make you believe, kind of like in Japan. Like in Japan, you got Kaosuke Takami, who everybody's saying is this next star. I think he's overrated. He's gonna have to make me believe, starting with his next fight against Rene Santiago, and it's the same thing with Luben. I feel like Luben is a good fighter, but I don't believe. I wasn't always a believer, but I've been believing more and more ever since the Santiago fight. Because you know what's crazy? My perspective on Norman isn't the same as most people, because for most people it's like, okay, they saw Norman fight on ESPN, and then he was bad, and then he was knocking everybody out, and now he's fighting Devin. That's the perspective. For me, I met Najee Lopez and his dad, RP to the late Tito Lopez. I met him in 2019 because Najee came to South Florida to spar some guys at Stacey McKinley's gym, and I interviewed him and his dad years ago. And I remember when I started following Najee on Instagram, he would post about Brian Norman Jr. a lot in 2019. So I used to always hear about Brian Norman Jr. Then his dad would say good things about Brian Norman Jr. back in those days. When I would talk to him about boxing, I would hear that name a lot. Brian Norman Jr., Brian. Then I found out he was with Cameron Duncan. So it's like, I knew he was good. He had all the green flags of someone that was like good. And then I saw him fight, and he wasn't good. And now it's like he validated everything I heard. So yeah, he said, the left hand, it drops mountains, and the right hand be slaying dragons. That's my channel intro now. I literally made that my channel intro because it was such a dope line. What's my prediction for Brian Norman versus Haney? I've been very adamant about it. Brian Norman Jr. in 7 or less. Straight up, 7 or less. Call me crazy, but I still think Karen will be a tougher matchup for Norman than Haney. Karen has great footwork, timing, and he can take a punch. I think Karen, listen, that'd be a good fight. I like that fight. I think Karen might have. I think Karen would have. He might have something for for Norman as far as forward. Now, of course, he would stop to keep him honest, but Norman has some things defense, like with his feet where he resets and things like that. I feel like Karen might be able to exploit that. Hell yeah, that'd be a great fight. Speaking of Karen, I think Karen versus Tiger Johnson would be a great fight. Tiger Johnson just won. They're going to be close in the rankings together. I would like to see Karen fight Tiger Johnson. Yes, sir. Is it? That shit was so fire. Y'all got to watch that open workout. I was there. That's my video. I recorded it. I was there at the Ohashi Boxing Gym. You know, thankfully I was able to stay because of Brian Norman Sr. Fucking Ohashi Gym, because they got this event. I don't know why they don't like me for some reason. They don't like me at that particular gym. Everywhere else in Japan, they love BT, but Ohashi Gym, they don't like BT. Brian Norman Sr. said it was cool that I could be there, but the Japanese people were trying to throw me out because I was the only non-Japanese person in the media that was there. They said we don't want that guy Gene, we don't want that foreigner here. But yeah, I was there. It was probably one of my favorite open workouts I ever went to because Ohashi Gym is such a historical gym with a lot of history, and then it was a fight I was very excited about. And then now in hindsight, knowing what happened in that fight with that iconic knockout, it's pretty cool. Hey BT, it's been a while. Nice haircut. What do you think of Donaire versus Seiya? I spoke about it well over a year ago. I think it's a terrible idea for Donaire. I think he's gonna get beat up badly. That's all I can say about it. Yeah, put the link in the chat, True. It's a great video. I'm sure I left a comment. The video of yeah, I'll find it real quick. Yeah, if y'all haven't seen it, because I mean, sometimes when you go and you cover these fights and you cover these events, sometimes you don't really know the magnitude of what you're covering until you really until the fights happen and some time goes by. And so now when I go back and I look at that video, I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. Like, you at the Ohashi Gym, he's training to get this big time knockout. I like that video a lot. Where is it? But shout out to everybody. Make sure y'all smash that like button. It's True School After Dark. I can't remember the last time I was live this damn late. But I'm wide awake. This video right here. Everyone loves this video. People still come back and watch it and comment on it and stuff. And it's the very beginning of the video. This is the link that this is the video they're referring to. This one right here. This classic. This True School classic right here. Boom. There it is. So y'all go watch that bad boy. And yeah, man. Brian Norman Jr. You know what I find crazy though? I just find it crazy. Like I was just reflecting on this recently. Like I find it insane that Cameron Duncan, right, the great manager, how he had Brian Norman Jr. and he had Boots and he had Crawford at one point in his career. Like he just had all these great fighters like Danny Romero, Johnny. I think he might have had Johnny Tappy. He had Mark Too Sharp Johnson. Like how does he see all these guys like being this damn great? Anyway, that's just me. Next Gen says, I woke up at 12:30 for my I woke up at 12:30 for my after work nap. LOL. I had you live on my notification. Surprised you were still on. Yeah, I'm surprised I'm still on because I've done a lot of things today, like boxing content wise. Before I came on this live, I didn't feel like the most energy. I felt actually a bit down, a bit lethargic, and then I was like, nah, BT, you gotta be professional. You gotta actually start doing these damn lives because people want to hear from you. You can't just be like, oh, I don't want to do it today. So I'm getting my consistency right. And I'm like, you know what, man, these lives mean a lot to people. So you got to show up for them. But I listen to some music. I did some sit-ups, I did some lunges, I did some mountain climbers, I did some push-ups, and here we are, 2.5 hours later. Next Gen wants to know, oh yeah, I meant to ask you, BT, what do you think about Junto getting a contract sent for Bam at 118 after he already said he was going after Inoue? I feel like anything in regards to Bam, I'm so consistent with this. Bam and Junto are never, ever going to fight. So when I hear Bam talk about, yeah, I wanted to fight Junto and it just didn't happen. No. There's no such thing as it just didn't happen. They're never going to fight because of Mr. Honda. In fact, you guys know how it goes. When Junto moves up, Bam moves up. When Junto moves up again, Bam moves up again. That's how it goes. They're not gonna fight each other. You know how Taking Promotions does. And that ain't hated. That's just telling the stone cold truth. That's telling the facts. Even if, okay, let's play devil's advocate. Let's say Mr. Honda wanted to put Junto versus Bam on, and he would allow it. Let's just say that he would allow the fight. Why in the hell would Junto pass up all that money and all that legacy in the biggest fight in the history of Japanese boxing to fight Bam? Like no disrespect to Bam, but you ain't fucking Inoue. You're not Inoue. You're not putting 50,000 plus asses in the seats at the Tokyo Dome or anywhere for that matter. So there's no reason to fight Bam. I actually never is crazy. I actually like Bam, but not having no Japanese name on your resume at those weights is insane. Yeah, like maybe he might fight Kenshiro because Kenshiro is old enough now, but I'll still give him credit because Kenshiro is still Kenshiro. He's still like I don't think he's washed up. Like, has he lost a step after the Seigo Yuri fight? Yes, that much is clear because that fight was like 4 fights in one. But he's still a really good fighter. He has to still win his world title against Ubaldo Garcia, and that's not a foregone conclusion. So we'll see how it goes, man. I'm gonna root my ass off for Kenshiro because that's my guy. That Kenshiro, Brian Norman Jr., Angelo Leo. Those are the 3 fighters that have kept my love for boxing alive these last like 2 years. Last 2 years. Remove those 3 from the sport, and I'm probably not even covering boxing no more. I'm being honest. And that's my thing, BT. Motherfuckers was really saying Junto was ducking, and it's like, why would you fight a 115-pounder at 118 to get ready for at 122? It makes no sense. The thing is, they just like Bam, and I get it. Like, Bam's an awesome fighter, but a lot of people who speak about Bam and Junto, they don't really know the inner workings of Japanese boxing and Mr. Honda and how they think. And that's why anytime people talk to me about it, or I'm giving a platform to speak about it, I talk about it because, like, they're never going to fight. This has been probably one of my most consistent opinions about anything in boxing, that Bam and Junto will never ever fight. Because why? They're not going to fight until like they're big stars, and even then they still might not fight because look, Romo Gonzalez and Naoya Inoue was a fight that at one particular point, like 10 years ago, almost 10 years ago now, made some sense, and it never got made. Even when Romo Gonzalez had a resurgence at after the Martinez fight, it was still never a fight that was gonna be explored to get made, in 2022. So that's what it is. I'm with you, champ. I'm team Ken when it comes to in and around that weight at the championship level, unless Kenshiro fights my young boy Yugo Osaki. Other than that, I'll root for him against anybody else. So I want to see him. I want to see him beat Bam. Bam's a great fighter, but Bam already got his jaw broken by Christian Gonzalez. So why can't Kenshiro break his jaw? He punched harder than Christian Gonzalez. Why not? Would y'all put Kenshiro in the Hall of Fame if he beats Bam? Because everybody tells me that Kenshiro is not a Hall of Famer, and I feel like Kenshiro is a Hall of Famer. And if he beats Walter Garcia to become a 3-division champion, he's definitely a Hall of Famer, even more now. But would beating Bam get him in the Hall of Fame? I mean, everybody has the way they approach life. I mean, Devin Haney, I'm sure behind closed doors is his own man and does his own thing, but he don't, he's not like Brian Norman. He's not like Brian Norman. Has a very authentic personality, so everyone's different. And now Bam is talking about going undisputed at 115 for what, dude? It's a lot of ground to make up at 118 and 122. Bam won't even get to 126 till damn near 30. I don't think he's going to go that high. I don't think he's going to go that high at all. I don't. I think he's probably going to cap out. Maybe he might cap out at 118, honestly, because there'll be a lot of good fights for them at 118. Who did I pick between Bam and Sonny? Who did I don't remember. Probably shit. No, me. My dumb ass. I probably picked Sonny. I probably picked Sonny just for the fun of it because everyone was picking Bam. Like everyone knows Sonny can't punch, so I probably picked Sonny. Who knows? I have to go back and watch. What does this guy say? But guys, look, on that note, I'm gonna wrap it up. Almost at 3 hours now. Listen, I'll be live again later on today after the Virgil Ortiz versus Eric's Luben fight. So I will see you after the live. Make sure you guys go ahead and tune in as soon as the fight ends. Tune in because I'll be live right here dissecting whatever the hell happens in that fight tomorrow. And yeah, but until then, I'm gonna get some rest. Stay tuned for all the other content on True School Sports. Definitely subscribe. We're making progress. We're moving, and yeah, God bless everyone, and we'll see you tomorrow after the fights.